Chapter 8:14. It wasn't uncommon for Tier 4 demonic beasts to attack coastal industries. But previously, it was always a few Tier 4 demonic beasts that sneaked onto the shore and ambushed industries with fewer guards. But now, there were hundreds of Tier 4 demonic beasts on the shore. This didn't seem like a sneak attack, but a decisive battle. Wang Daoyuan used the Wasp King to order the spirit-chasing wasps to retreat immediately. Unfortunately, Tier 3 spiritual wasps were too slow in front of Tier 4 demonic beasts. Of the thousands of Tier 3 low-grade spirit-chasing wasps, more than half were killed. It wasn't realistic to expect the spirit-chasing wasps to find traces of Tier 5 demonic beasts, so Wang Daoyuan called them back. After this group of Tier 4 demonic beasts swept through the area, they didn't find anything valuable. After all, demonic beasts didn't need smithing materials, so mines were worthless to them. The spirit plants that had been planted in industries such as spirit fields had also been removed, leaving only bare land. Tianji Sec's mountain gate was over 20,000 miles away from the west coast, and there were hundreds of industries in between. The demonic beasts took half a day to reach the mountain gate. At this moment, the mountain protecting array was activated, and the entire Tianji Sec's mountain gate was enveloped in the mountain protecting array. Even though Tianji Mountain only had Tier 4 peak spiritual veins, the array was passed down from ancient times, and was once a Tier 7 array. Under the control of cultivators, even Tier 5 low-grade demonic beasts would need a long time to break through. These Tier 4 demonic beasts could only circle around the mountain gate. There were a few demonic beasts that weren't afraid of death, and they tried to attack the array. However, the Celestial Arcanum sect was famous for its arrays. How could the mountain protecting array, which was used to protect the sect, be something ordinary? For those demonic beasts that dared to approach the array emitted a few rays of light, and over 10 Tier 4 demonic beasts died instantly. The rest of the demonic beasts retreated 500 miles away from the array, afraid that they would be killed. These demonic beasts didn't leave Tianji Mountain, and they waited nearby. Soon, over 10 auspicious clouds floated over from the west. Everyone in the hall used their spiritual senses to scan over, and they discovered that the auspicious clouds were emitting strong spiritual energy waves. It seemed like these fellas were Tier 5 demonic beasts. Everyone's expression didn't look good. Over 10 Tier 5 demonic beasts were too big of a threat. The auspicious clouds stopped 500 miles away from the edge of the defensive formation. The two auspicious clouds continued to move forward, arriving right above the edge of the formation. These two auspicious clouds dispersed, and two demonic beasts appeared in the sky. One of them looked like a tiger, but it had a pair of wings and the fur on its body was like sharp thorns. There was a wind attribute spiritual energy fluctuation on his body. He was probably at the upper level of the 5th rank. The other was a gigantic snake that was several hundred meters long. Its body was pitch black, and its head was green. There wasn't a single trace of spiritual energy fluctuation on the giant snake's body. Instead, the surrounding spiritual energy was constantly converging on its body before disappearing. Wang Daoyuan felt that the two fellows in front of him looked familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen them before. He carefully recalled all the books he had read about rare and exotic beasts, but he couldn't recall what species these two fellows were. However, Ling Long and Patriarch Yin Yang saw some clues. Ling Long had a look of disbelief. "Brother Yin Yang, you have been in the West Sea for more than 100,000 years. How could there be such a thing in the depths of the West Sea?" Patriarch Yin Yang nodded. "The West Sea is the end of the world, where the laws are chaotic. In my early years, I had followed the first master to the extreme west. It was like the scene when the world was first created. Even Mahayana cultivators didn't dare to stay there for long. It wouldn't be strange for strange things to appear there. It's just that after the appearance of the decimating heaven abyss, the spiritual energy north of the decimating heaven abyss has been constantly declining. I'm not sure what the situation is now. Ling Long had her hands behind her back, and her expression was solemn. This Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao are legendary beasts that were born when the world was first created. Later, the world of the Qian Yuan world changed. After the ancient era ended, this world was no longer suitable for them to live. Apart from a few exotic beasts such as dragons and phoenixes, which merged with the heavenly Tao and formed the divine beast race, most of the other exotic beasts disappeared. Most of the other mutated beasts had disappeared. The few that left behind their bloodlines had also become ordinary demonic beasts. It seems that there are still places suitable for exotic beasts to live in the extreme west. Otherwise, these two evil creatures wouldn't have been left behind. After hearing Ling Long's words, Wang Daoyuan suddenly remembered where he had seen these two things. In his previous life, he had read the classic of mountains and seas. Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao were both recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. Qiong Qi punished the good and promoted the evil. It fed on humans and was a proper evil beast. Snake Xiao was the boss serpent. The story of the boss serpent swallowing an elephant was very famous. This guy liked to devour things, and its ability was also devouring. If these two guys were left alone, the human race would be in trouble. Among the exotic beasts that were born when the world was first created, there were strong and weak ones. The strong ones might not be inferior to divine beasts like true dragons. Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao were both strong among the exotic beasts. They might be much stronger than demigod beasts of the same level. Qiong Qi flapped its wings and said with a voice that sounded like a wolf's howl and a dog's bark, "Someone of the human race, come out." Wang Daoyuan had never shown his face in front of the West Sea's demonic beasts. He could still hide his identity. The only one who could come out was spiritual master Lei Yan. He put the Ling Long pagoda into his body and flew to the top of the main hall. He cupped his hands towards the two exotic beasts and said, "Daoyu, why did you come here instead of cultivating in the West Sea? The laws in the depths of the West Sea are chaotic. It's not easy to survive. With our 5th level cultivation, we might lose our lives at any time. On the other hand, the laws of the land are stable, and we demonic beasts can also live and reproduce. As long as you humans give up the territory within 100,000 miles of the west coast, we can live in peace." The demonic beasts were not all boorish fellows who only knew how to fight with their lives on the line. Other demonic beasts aside, Qiong Qi's biggest hobby was eating humans. Who would believe it when it said it could live in peace? Spiritual Master Lei Yan said, "We humans have occupied this place for more than 100,000 years. How can we give up the foundation of our ancestors so easily? The territory of the West Sea's demonic beasts is in the West Sea, and we humans have never invaded the West Sea. I hope Daoyu won't start a war so easily. It's better for each of us to defend our own borders." Seeing that its game had failed, Qiong Qi also showed its true colors. "I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't grasp it. Since that's the case, we can only break through this place by force and sweep all the way to the east. There will be no more humans in Beiyuan." After saying that, it flapped its wings fiercely, and 2 gusts of wind blew towards the main hall below. The gusts of wind hit the defensive formation, and the whole defensive light shield started to shake violently. Qiong Qi was an immemorial mutated beast, and its strength was naturally much stronger than other demonic beasts. The defensive formation of the archaic Arcanum sect was only at the peak of the 4th stage. How could it withstand such a powerful attack? The defensive light shield shook violently, as if it was going to collapse at any moment. Spiritual Master Xian Tian did not panic at all. Instead, he was very calm. He quickly formed a seal with his hands, and a 1-foot-tall pagoda image appeared, which was exactly the same as the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. The pagoda image flew towards the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda, and merged with the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Then, streams of light started to appear from the plain Heavenly Mystery Pagoda, and they merged into the defensive formation. The defensive light shield instantly stabilized, and it only shook slightly after taking Qiongqi's attack. Under such circumstances, even if they continued to attack the formation, they would not be able to break it. As an immemorial mutated beast, Qiongqi was in existence on the same level as a divine beast. Naturally, it was not stupid. If the attack did not work, it would be a waste of energy to continue attacking. He stopped flapping his wings and sneered, "This pagoda is quite interesting. As long as you remove the formation and give us the pagoda, we will return to the West Ocean without any territory." Spiritual Master Lei Yen glanced at him. "Dao Yu, stop playing these little tricks. Unless you have the strength of a divine transformation realm cultivator, you will not be able to break the defense of the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Dao Yu, you should retreat as soon as possible, in case you lose your thousands of years of cultivation." Snake Xiao, who had been silent all this time, snorted, "Junior, you are too arrogant. Do you think you can stop us with a mere pagoda?" After saying that, it opened its mouth and started to suck in the defensive formation. A gust of wind started to blow, and a large amount of spiritual qi started to gather in Snake Xiao's mouth. However, the defensive light shield was still shaking slightly, and the spiritual qi inside was still operating normally. It did not look like it was going to break at all. Chapter 8:15. This time, the monsters are dumbfounded. Even the two strongest monsters can't do anything about the formation. The monsters don't have the means to break the formation, so they can only attack it by force. Now that their attacks are ineffective, they can't break the mountain-guarding Great Formation. Wang Daoyuan has been paying attention to Qiongqi and Snake Xiao, estimating their fighting capacity. They are indeed immemorial rare beasts. The means they have used are not much weaker than Master Huang's. When Qiongqi and Snake Xiao are at a loss of what to do, an auspicious cloud drifts over. On the cloud is an extremely coquettish man with 2 beast ears on his head and 7 tails on his back. Judging from his appearance, he should be a 9-tailed fox. He whispers to Qiongqi and Snake Xiao for a while. Then Qiongqi shouts, "Since you're cowards, we'll leave the Tianji mountain and let you stay here. This place is protected by a rare treasure, but I don't believe the whole territory of the human race is protected by a rare treasure. I'd like to see if other places can stop the monsters of the West Sea." Hearing this, the Supreme Emperor of the Qin state, the Immortal Mo Lin, is a little panicked. Among all the states, the Qin state is the closest to the West Sea. Once the monsters go around the Tianji mountain and sweep eastward, the Qin state will be the first to be attacked. It is undeniable that this move of the monsters is really ruthless. They are playing a psychological trick. Just like the Immortal Mo Lin, if the Qin state is massacred by the monsters, will he still stay here wholeheartedly? Wang Daoyuan asks himself if his own state is attacked by the monsters, he will go back immediately. Xian Tian also seems to be in a dilemma. He asks through sound transmission, "Apprentice nephew Daoyuan, are you sure you can take down these 2 monsters?" Wang Daoyuan answers, "They haven't used their full power, so I can't estimate their power." Then he asks Ling Long, "Little brother, how's the fighting capacity of Qiongqi and Snake Xiao? How much stronger are they than a half-divine beast?" Ling Long also answers through sound transmission, "Half-divine beasts are nothing. The experts among the immemorial rare beasts can compete with divine beasts of the same level." Qiongqi's divine ability was wind riding. Although it was not as powerful as the 5 elements divine beasts, it was not a problem for it to deal with the weaker species of dragons and phoenixes. For example, the mystical dragon phenomenon of your ancestor and your 12th uncle, the mystical dragon is one of the weaker dragons. If they were both at the 7th rank, they would be slightly stronger than Snake Xiao. However, they were still a bit weaker than Qiongqi. Overall, Qiongqi's strength could be ranked in the middle of the dragon clan. Snake Xiao is slightly inferior, but it can still be ranked below average. After hearing this, Wang Daoyuan had a rough idea of what to do. The strength of demonic beasts of the same rank was closely related to the strength of their bloodline. The power of Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao could be compared with some dragons. They were definitely much more powerful than the semi-divine beasts. The strength of a semi-divine beast could surpass 90% of human cultivators of the same level. As for divine beasts, only the top figures of the human race could compete with them. Then, the strength of these two fellows should not be weaker than old Master Huang. They might even be stronger. With his strength, he might be able to defeat the two of them in a battle of attrition. However, it might take a few hours. The remaining 11 rank 5 demonic beasts were not easy to deal with. For example, this seven-tailed fox was not weaker than the black tortoise. A few hours was enough for the other demonic beasts to wipe out the archaic mysteries sect. Wang Daoyuan also transmitted a message to everyone: if I fight Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao at the same time, I won't be able to defeat them quickly. I can only delay them. If that's the case, you will have to face 11 rank 5 demonic beasts. The only way is to separate Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao. I will kill one of them as fast as possible. Without these two troublesome fellows, the other demonic beasts are just lambs waiting to be slaughtered in front of me. Daoist Xian Tian pondered for a long time before replying. The yin-yang compass has the sealing ability. It can temporarily suppress one demonic beast. Together with the suppressive effect of the purplish gold jewel pagoda, it won't be difficult to stall one demonic beast. However, no one can deal with the other 11 rank 5 demonic beasts. Unless I take the risk to release the array and use the power of the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda to stall the 11 rank 5 demonic beasts. However, I don't know how powerful the other demonic beasts are. With the power of a half-step Yuanying, I can't guarantee how long I can stall the demonic beasts even if I activate the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. If they are all at the same level as Chuolong, it won't be a problem. However, a seven-tailed fox appeared just now. Its power is far above Chuolong's. If there are more demonic beasts at this level, I won't be able to do anything. If we fail, the demonic beasts will come in and we will all die. The human race will have no hope. Daoist Mo Lin was silent for a long time. Let's continue to wait here. We'll wait until some of the rank 5 demonic beasts leave. The ancestors of the state of Qin also had Yuanying cultivators. Their core defensive arrays are all at the rank 5. Even if the rank 5 demonic beasts go over, the whole race won't be exterminated. As for losing some of our people, we can still bear it. However, if we lose, everyone will have no hope. For the future of the human race, the state of Qin will bear this loss. Daoist Xian Tian also sighed. We'll also abandon all the properties and disciples to the east of the Heavenly Mystery Mountain. At this moment of life and death, they can only abandon the rook to save the king. After making the decision, they are no longer in a hurry. They just wait for the demonic beasts to disperse slowly. After a long time of stalemate, the demonic beasts really can't keep their cool anymore. Qiong Qi says something to the seven-tailed fox. Then the seven-tailed fox leads 6 demonic beasts of the 5th rank and leaves. Outside the mountain protecting formation of the Archaic Mysteries sect, there are 4 rank 5 demonic beasts besides Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao. The rank 4 demonic beasts have all dispersed. Staying at the Archaic Mysteries sect will not be of any use. 7 rank 5 demonic beasts with hundreds of rank 4 demonic beasts are enough to wipe out the whole of Beiyuan. The battle here must be finished quickly. After dealing with the remaining 6 rank 5 demonic beasts, they still have to chase after the demonic beasts that have dispersed. After the time it takes to drink half a cup of tea, the higher-ups of the Archaic Mysteries sect receive messages from everywhere. These are all requests for help from the properties that have been attacked. Daoist Xian Tian started to cry. However, he refrains himself from looking at the jade talisman and does not ask Wang Daoyuan to get into action now. He knows that these demonic beasts have not gone far. If they get into action now, they will be able to come back soon. Once the plan fails, the human race will be in real danger. Until 2 hours later, he says, the sealing technique and the suppressive force are not very useful against big demonic beasts. Snake Xiu's body can become very big. It will be very difficult to stall him. Qiongqi is not big. I will stall him. As for the other 4 demonic beasts, I will leave them to Daoyu. The remaining 4 demonic beasts are definitely not weak. It will not be easy to stall them. Daoist Mo Lin says without any hesitation, it is just a life. At worst, I will die here. Even if I die, I will drag a beast to the grave with me. The yin-yang compass in Daoist Xian Tian's hand shines brightly. A huge taiji image soars into the sky. It crosses the formation and moves towards Qiongqi. Daoist Lei Yen also takes out the purple gold exquisite pagoda. The pagoda instantly expands to more than 10 zhang tall and flies out of the formation to cover Qiongqi. Qiongqi wants to dodge. However, the suppressive force of the purple gold exquisite pagoda severely restricts its speed. It is unable to escape for a while. The taiji image quickly comes over. With the exquisite pagoda above and the taiji image below, Qiongqi is suppressed in an instant. It flaps its wings continuously. Gusts of strong wind like sword energy hit the taiji image. The taiji image trembles violently. However, it shows no sign of breaking. Seeing this, Snake Xiu waves its long tail and sweeps towards the exquisite pagoda. Right at this moment, a simple long sword soars into the sky and slashes towards Snake Xiu's tail. As an immemorial demonic beast, Snake Xiu is naturally knowledgeable. Seeing the power of this long sword, it immediately retracts its tail. Unfortunately, it is still slower than the flying sword. The Guiyuan sword slashes its tail. Snake Xiu's body is big. It can swallow all kinds of good things. Its body is not weak either. However, this slash does not cut off its tail. It only leaves a deep wound. Blood splatters everywhere. Chapter 8:16. The power of this sword made Snake Xiu feel scared. The person who could make this sword attack definitely had the ability to kill it. Before it could react, Wang Daoyuan turned into a long sword shadow and attacked it. Snake Xiu quickly shrank its body to 10 feet long and dodged this attack. Wang Daoyuan used his theurgy and all the spiritual energy around him was turned into metal element. The control of spiritual energy he learned from demon sealing Immortal was not only useful when he used water element spells. When he used spells of other elements, their power was also greatly increased. The metal element spiritual energy instantly condensed into 36 sword shadows and slashed at Snake Xiu. If it succeeded, even if it couldn't kill it, it would be severely injured. Snake Xiu didn't dare to be careless and opened its mouth to swallow the sword qi. Wang Daoyuan lost control of the sword shadows. These sword shadows flew into Snake Xiu's mouth and were finally swallowed into its stomach. The Archean strange beast was really something. It broke the Big Dipper sword formation directly. Snake Xiu roared, "What are you waiting for? Go and save Qiongqi." The other 4 beasts quickly flew over. Lei Yanjinren and the half-step Yuanian cultivators on the human side also took action to block the 4 beasts. Snake Xiu could swallow the Big Dipper sword formation, but it could only dodge the Guiyuan sword and didn't dare to swallow it. It seemed that this guy also had a weakness. He used the sword controlling technique to control the Guiyuan sword and kept attacking Snake Xiu. All the spiritual energy entering Shentong's field was turned into metal element. At the same time, he released the Tai golden flame to refine the spiritual energy and pour it into the Guiyuan sword. After Snake Xiao shrank its body, it became more agile and kept dodging the attacks. The Beiyuan sword could only scratch it occasionally and leave a shallow scar. On Xiongqi's side, the Taiji diagram was shaking more and more violently and was about to collapse. It couldn't be delayed any longer. He had to end the battle quickly. Wang Daoyuan used the sky-splitting sword teleportation and turned into a long sword to attack Snake Xiao. This guy didn't swallow a lot of spiritual energy for nothing. It opened its mouth and spat out a lot of bones, gravel and other things. Under the support of his divine ability, these miscellaneous items were also extremely powerful. Wang Daoyuan had no choice but to use the sword shadow divine light technique, condensing sword shadows to protect himself from the attacks. Snake Xiao was an extremely greedy creature. At the moment, Wang Daoyuan didn't have any magic treasures in his hands, only the sword silhouettes condensed by his spiritual power. To Snake Xiao, this was like a piece of juicy meat delivered to its doorstep. Greed rose in its heart again. While Wang Daoyuan's sword shadow was tangling with the debris, Snake Xiao's body quickly expanded. When it was 1,000 feet long, it opened its bloody mouth and cast the devouring divine ability, trying to swallow Wang Daoyuan. The surrounding spiritual energy crazily surged into Snake Xiao's mouth, and a fierce wind appeared within a radius of 1,000 miles. The half-step Yuanian cultivators couldn't resist the wind and had no choice but to use their escape techniques to escape from the range of the Snake Xiao divine art. Wang Daoyuan couldn't control his body anymore, and couldn't stop himself from flying into Snake Xiao's mouth. Instead of being scared, he was happy. Snake Xiao was very agile when it shrunk its body. Even if he used the sword to attack, the accuracy was not high. Wang Daoyuan also didn't dare to use Yinglong's demon-slaying sword as an ordinary attack. If he couldn't kill it with one strike, it would become a war of attrition, and the other cultivators wouldn't be able to hold on. Now that it had shrunk its body and cast the divine ability, its agility must be limited. In Wang Daoyuan's Dantian, the 5 life-bound magic treasures had already fused into Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. A large amount of spiritual power in his body had been turned into sword energy and merged with Yinglong's demon-slaying sword. When it was 2,000 feet away from Snake Xiao's mouth, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword appeared out of nowhere and stabbed into Snake Xiao's mouth. This sudden change shocked Snake Xiao greatly. It hurriedly twisted its body, trying to dodge this attack. Unfortunately, the distance was too close. Before it could twist its body, Yinglong's demon-slaying sword had already pierced into its mouth and came out from the back of its head. Snake Xiao's brain was directly turned into paste by the sword energy. Most of the sword energy went through its body and crushed all its internal organs. Snake Xiao struggled powerlessly for a few times, then lay on the ground and kept twitching. Wang Daoyuan controlled Yinglong's demon-slaying sword and attacked Xiongqi. Seeing Wang Daoyuan kill Snake Xiao, Xiongqi was extremely frightened. Its blood energy fluctuated violently, and a whirlwind appeared around it. It kept flapping its wings, injecting spiritual power into them. Daoist Xian Tian didn't have much spiritual power left, so how could he resist Xiongqi's blood essence? The Taiji diagram collapsed, and the purple gold exquisite pagoda was also sent flying. The moment it broke the seal, it was trapped by a black cage. Xiongqi was extremely frightened, and attacked the cage with all its might. The moment it broke the cage, a bright yellow light flashed. A 3-inch hole appeared on Xiongqi's back, and blood splattered everywhere. The fierceness in its eyes slowly disappeared, and its body fell down powerlessly. After killing Xiongqi, Wang Daoyuan let out a sigh of relief. That fellow was a wind attribute exotic beast, and it even had 2 wings. If it escaped, even a 5th-grade flying boat wouldn't be able to catch up. In just a few breaths' time, the 2 strongest demon beasts were killed. The remaining 4 5th-grade demon beasts were dumbfounded. What happened to the absolute advantage? With the yin-yang compass and the purple gold exquisite pagoda, as well as Taoist Lei Yen and a group of half-step Yuanying cultivators, they were able to suppress the demon beasts. Wang Daoyuan stared at a gray rock. This rock was a 5th-grade middle-grade demon beast, and wasn't the mixed-blood rock that came to scout the way before. Its bloodline was pure, and it was at least a half-divine beast. Moreover, it was of the wind attribute. Rocks were extremely fast, not to mention a wind attribute one. If he could catch it and refine it into a clone, it would be much easier to chase and escape in the future. Wang Daoyuan used Black Tortoise Purgatory again, and trapped the gray rock. The gray rock struggled in Black Tortoise Purgatory, but couldn't break free. Wang Daoyuan let out a tiger's roar, and the gray rock fainted on the spot. This was the white tiger soul-subduing roar, and the other demon beasts and cultivators were also affected. However, they weren't the main target, and were only stunned for a moment before returning to normal. Wang Daoyuan shouted, "Exquisite pagoda, keep this fella. Don't kill it, I have a use for it." The exquisite pagoda quickly flew over and kept the gray rock inside. Taoist Xian Tian's yin-yang compass was indeed not weak. It condensed a Taiji diagram, and trapped a 5th-grade low-grade long-tailed bird. 2 half-step Yuanying cultivators took out their magic tools, and attacked the long-tailed bird continuously. Wang Daoyuan didn't care about them, and used his sacred art to condense dozens of long sword shadows, killing the remaining 2 demon beasts. In such a short time, all 6 5th-grade demon beasts were taken down. There was no joy on everyone's face, because there were still 7 5th-grade demon beasts and hundreds of 4th-grade demon beasts wreaking havoc in the human territory. Wang Daoyuan kept Snake Xiao and Xiong Qi's corpses, and didn't care about the other 2 demon beasts' corpses. He said to Taoist Xian Tian, "Find me a secluded place, I will try to subdue the gray rock, and explore the secrets of the West Sea." After Taoist Xian Tian dealt with the long-tailed bird, he nodded, "Jiuxiao, bring Taoist Yuan to the back mountain." Xian Jiuxiao quickly flew out and cupped his hands, "Brother, please follow me." Wang Daoyuan took out the unconscious gray rock from the exquisite pagoda, and followed Xian Jiuxiao to a valley in the back mountain. There was a clear spring here, and all kinds of exotic flowers and herbs. On the cliffs on both sides of the valley, there were caves. This is the place where the Tianji sect's disciples are in seclusion, no one will disturb them, and no one else is here. After speaking, he casually opened a cave. Wang Daoyuan entered the cave, and Xian Jiuxiao also turned and left. He took out Ruan Chang's divided soul and fused it with the gray rock soul, and then kept the gray rock into the spiritual pearl space. Ruan Chang was only a mid-grade 4th-grade smithing master, so he didn't have much value now. After half a cup of tea's time, Wang Daoyuan left the cave. At this moment, Taoist Lei Yen and the group of half-step Yuanying cultivators had already left the Tianji sect, and were heading east to hunt down the demon beasts. He didn't stay in the Tianji sect, but took out his high-grade 5th-grade flying ship, and headed east. Chapter 8:17. The Tianji sect underestimated the number of West Sea monsters. They thought there were only 6 or 7 rank 5 monsters. The industries within 3,000 miles east of the Tianji sect were also abandoned in advance, so there was no loss. Many industries further east, because they were far away, did not evacuate people. The defensive arrays of these industries were all broken, and the resources such as the spiritual fields and mines were all in a mess. There were many broken magic tools and bloodstains on the ground, but no cultivator's body was seen. The flying boat continued to the east, and soon found the traces of rank 4 monsters. These demonic beasts did not form groups to attack the various industries. Instead, they were fleeing in all directions. Wang Daoyuan also conveniently killed off any 4th-order demonic beasts he encountered. The Black Ice Turtle avatar had been following Lei Yen Jinren. He sensed the black ice turtle and knew that they were chasing monsters in the southeast. For rank 5 monsters and most of the rank 4 monsters continued to flee to the east, while the rest of the monsters fled to the north and south, trying to escape back to the West Sea. The cultivators who went to chase them did not care about those who fled back to the West Sea. They were chasing the monsters who fled to the east. Once these guys fled into the hinterland of the human clan, the casualties would be great. Except for the 4 top forces and the 2 countries of Zhou and Qin, other forces did not have the ability to resist dozens of rank 4 monsters, let alone rank 5 monsters. These demonic beasts were really going all out, running towards the east with all their might. Along the way, they killed more than 20 rank 4 monsters and entered the territory of the Qin state. There were more traces of monsters here. Many towns and villages were in ruins. Broken clothes and blood could be seen everywhere on the ground. At this time, the soul of the avatar Grey Rock had merged with the original soul. Wang Daoyuan also put away the flying boat and rode the Grey Rock to the east. Ordinary monsters, flying at full speed, was not inferior to the escape technique of cultivators of the same level. It was just that cultivators could use the escape technique, and it was good to be able to fly for thousands of miles. But rank 5 monsters could fly for hundreds of thousands of miles without a problem. Moreover, monsters did not have no escape technique. This Grey Rock had the wind escape technique. Its usual speed could reach more than 30,000 miles in 2 hours, and it could fly for hundreds of thousands of miles. If he used the wind evasion technique, his speed would be doubled, but he could only fly for about 3,000 miles. Eagles had excellent eyesight, not to mention this Grey Rock. Wang Daoyuan's heaven-peering art was far inferior to it. The Grey Rock also had an innate spell related to its eyes. When it cast it, it could see things the size of an ordinary person within 10,000 miles. Wang Daoyuan's panoramic perception avatar, the Grey Rock, searched for traces of demonic beasts. Sure enough, a few thousand miles to the east, he discovered a battle between a demonic beast and a human. He controlled the Grey Rock to immediately fly towards the battle. When he got closer, he realized that they were all familiar faces. There were 2 5th-order demonic beasts here, a drake and a mixed-blood rock. There was also a 5th-order giant python lying on the ground. These 3 fellows were the first 3 rank 5 demonic beasts to appear. The ones fighting against them were Daoist Thunderflame, Daoist Xiantian, Daoist Ink Scales, and the others. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan had arrived, Daoist Ink Scales shouted, "Daoyuan, don't worry about what's happening here. Some rank 4 demonic beasts have fled over. Quickly go and stop them. A county in the state of Qin has been trampled, and millions of people have died. The Soaring Dragon County in the east is densely populated with tens of millions of people. The Black Ice Tortoise is already ahead, but it's too slow to stop many demonic beasts." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan didn't stay any longer and quickly headed east. He sensed the location of the Black Ice Tortoise. This fellow was blocking a group of rank 4 demonic beasts at the Jingchuan River more than 3,000 miles to the southeast. Many demonic beasts fled into the water to hide. The Jingchuan River was dozens of miles wide. It ran through the territory of the state of Qin from west to east and finally converged into the Wanchuan River. These fellows fled along the Jingchuan River to the Wanchuan River. They would be in big trouble. He released the soul-chasing bees to search for traces of demonic beasts within a radius of tens of thousands of miles. He controlled the Grey Rock to move closer to the Black Ice Tortoise. At the Jingchuan River, the Black Ice Tortoise was blocking more than a dozen rank 4 demonic beasts. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and shot out more than a dozen sword chi, killing all of these demonic beasts. Through the Black Ice Tortoise's memory, a rank 5 low-grade demonic beast fled into the water. This demonic beast looked like an eagle, but it had horns on its head. There was this fellow in the Grey Rock's memory. Its name was Chongdiao, and it was also a kind of Archean demonic beast. Although this fellow looked like an eagle, its flying ability was not very strong. Instead, it was good at swimming. Wang Daoyuan immediately launched his supernatural power and flew downstream along the Jingchuan River. Within the range of his supernatural power, most of the demonic beasts had nowhere to hide. 2 hours later, Wang Daoyuan flew to the southeast of the state of Qin. He saw that the Jingchuan River converged into a large river more than 100 miles wide. This river was the Wanchuan River. Along the way, he killed 30 to 40 rank 4 demonic beasts, but he still didn't find any trace of the Chongdiao. After entering the Wanchuan River, he didn't have to worry about the rank 4 demonic beasts. There were many rank 4 demonic beasts in the river. These outsiders couldn't make big waves. But the Chongdiao, a rank 5 demonic beast, was always a huge threat. Although it was not good at fighting, it was very good at hiding in the water. There were many tributaries of the Wanchuan River. It was almost impossible to find it. Wang Daoyuan had to send a message to the others, asking them to inform the forces along the river to be careful of the demonic beast's sneak attack. He also sent a message to Zhou Wan through the channels of Blood Shadow and Magic Weapon Pavilion, asking her to be careful of the Chongdiao. He didn't have to worry too much about the clan. There were 4 Yuanying warriors, and one of them was a rank 5 upper-grade sword puppet. If the Chongdiao dared to go there, it would be courting death. But if he let it escape into the sea, it might cause a lot of trouble. He left the Jingchuan River and wiped out the scattered rank 4 demonic beasts according to the situation detected by the soul-chasing bees. After 3 days, they met in the soaring dragon county of the state of Qin. When they came to the city lord's mansion, Daoist Mo Lin's face was not very good. This time, the state of Qin lost nearly 10 million mortals and more than 100,000 cultivators. The Archaic Mysteries sect had fewer people, but they also lost tens of thousands of cultivators. Among the cultivators lost, there were more than 30 golden core cultivators. Almost all the properties of the Archaic Mysteries sect were destroyed by the demonic beasts. They killed more than 300 rank 4 demonic beasts and 3 rank 5 demonic beasts. Most of the demonic beasts that fled to the east were basically killed. Only 1 rank 5 lower grade Chongdiao escaped into the Wanchuan River and disappeared. The Chongdiao is good at controlling water, and it is difficult to find it in the water. We have also informed the forces to monitor the situation in the water. 3 rank 5 demonic beasts fled to the west and have returned to the West Sea. We have to guard against the Archaic Mysteries sect. Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, according to the memory of Huipeng, this group of demonic beasts hid in several secret realms in the depths of the West Sea. There are rank 5 spiritual veins in the secret realms. It is close to the end of the world, and there is a black aura similar to the heaven's end abyss. This black aura will quickly transform into a special spiritual energy, which is very suitable for the cultivation of the ancient demonic beasts. But in the past few hundred years, the depths of the West Sea have become unstable, and space cracks often appear. Even if it is a rank 5 demonic beast, as long as it touches a space crack, it will be seriously injured or even killed. Coincidentally, rank 5 spiritual veins are about to appear in Beiyuan Xiuxian. They want to leave the West Sea and seize some land. Moreover, the land is extremely vast. It is hard to say how many rank 5 demonic beasts there are. Once these words were said, Venerable Lei Yen was slightly worried. If that is the case, the West Sea could be attacked by demonic beasts at any time. We cannot retreat so easily, and have to continue guarding the Archaic Mysteries sect. We killed a total of 8 demonic beasts this time, and the corpses of Qiong Qi and Snake Xiao should be returned to Daoyuan. As for the other 6 demonic beasts cores, each of our 6 clans will have one. Each clan will send out a half-step Yuanying cultivator to prepare to break through to the Yuanying stage. Without rank 5 spiritual energy, cultivators who can cultivate to the half-step Yuanying stage are all dragons and phoenixes among men. Furthermore, they have been stuck at the half-step Yuanying stage for several hundred years, and have accumulated enough. With rank 5 demonic cores and inherited magic artifacts, the possibility of successfully passing the tribulation is very high. If we can have more Yuanying cultivators, we will have more confidence in resisting the demonic beasts. Chapter 8:18. The demonic beasts were temporarily repelled, and everyone had a chance to break through the Yuanying barrier. Naturally, they had no objections. The most suitable place to break through the Yuanying tribulation was the Tianji sect's territory. After all, it was a sect that had been passed down since ancient times. It had an extremely good location to undergo the tribulation. Everyone headed towards Tianji sect. On the way, Wang Daoyuan received Zhou Wan's reply. The replies from the Blood Shadow and the Divine Weapon Pavilion were sent back one after another. The contents were exactly the same. Zhou Wan had already made preparations to guard against the Chongdiao. It seemed that Blood Shadow was rather obedient and did not intercept the message midway. At this moment, there were no longer any traces of demonic beasts in the Celestial Arcanum sect's territory. According to the Grey Rock's memories, the place where these demonic beasts usually stayed was over 1,000,000 miles away from the shore. In ancient times, even soul formation cultivators didn't dare to go there. It might not be so dangerous now, but Wang Daoyuan didn't want to risk it. It would be better to wait until he reached the Mahayana realm and was able to ignore spatial rifts. There was spiritual qi there that was similar to the spiritual qi at the beginning of the world. If he could get some of it, he might be able to awaken Dahai's bloodline and restore the divine power of his ancestor, the heavenly dog. When they reached the Tianji sect, Daoist Xian Tian took out a token and handed it to Wang Daoyuan, martial nephew Daoyuan. This is the token to open the Tianji Tower. Back then, the Heavenly Mystery Tower was led by my ancestor and built by many powerful beings. This was also a treasure trove of the entire human race. All cultivators who had contributed greatly to the human race were qualified to enter the Heaven's Mystery Tower. Later on, Beiyuan was relatively peaceful. Only the 4 top forces and the Zhou nation were qualified to enter the Heavenly Mystery Tower. 10,000 years ago, during the demonic chaos, some meritorious officials entered the Heavenly Mystery Tower. The Qin and Zhao nations also had the qualifications to enter. Now that the Wang family had established the Yan country, although their foundation was still shallow, their strength was already extremely strong. They guarded the sky/mountain range and the eastern sea, and they had made great contributions. In the future, the Yan kingdom would be like one of the 4 top forces. As the protector of the human race, you should have the right to enter the Heavenly Mystery Tower. Wang Daoyuan didn't decline. These were all good things that could increase the family's foundation. Naturally, he couldn't give them up so easily. Moreover, the status of the Yan kingdom had been recognized. It had replaced the position of the Valley of Beasts and became the force guarding the east of Beiyuan. The Zhou nation had pursued this position for tens of thousands of years but had never succeeded. Then, Daoist Xiantian cupped his hands and said to everyone, "I reckon that Dao Yu still needs to adjust before he reaches the nascent soul realm. You can go to the back of the mountain to adjust." Then, he said to Xian Jiuxiao, "I'll leave the sect's affairs to you. If there are any traces of demons, hand them over to Adept Lei Yen." Xian Jiuxiao cupped his hands in acknowledgement. Then, Daoist Xian Tian led a few half-step Yuanying cultivators to the back of the mountain. Wang Daoyuan released the black ice tortoise and the grey rock to guard against the demonic beast's sneak attacks. He then entered the Heaven's Mystery Tower again. Last time at Demon Sealing Emperor's place, he had improved his control over spiritual energy. Using divine abilities to cast spells of other attributes was not weak either. Now, it was time to upgrade his cultivation method. Ever since he reached the nascent soul realm, he had been thinking about turning the 5-element spirit seeds into Yuanying's 5 internal organs. However, he did not have any clue and did not dare to act rashly. After all, Jia Qi's clone was quite rare and could not be wasted. Entering the 6th floor of the Heaven's Mystery Tower, there were a lot of soul crystals here. There were about 70 to 80 of them. Wang Daoyuan looked at the annotations beside the soul crystals one by one. There were as many as 10 5-elements cultivation methods. It seemed that the higher the cultivation level, the greater the advantage of the 5 spirit roots. Wang Daoyuan looked at the 5 elements cultivation methods and finally chose the Blood Spirit Divine Venerable's inheritance. Although the Blood Spirit Divine Venerable's title was somewhat like that of an evil cultivator, he was truly a righteous cultivator. He got this title not because he used blood essence to cultivate, but because his blood essence and spiritual energy cultivation were at the top for a time. The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable walked the path of body refinement, which was to fuse the spirit roots with the 5 internal organs. To be able to fuse the spirit roots with the 5 internal organs, he must have a deep understanding of the 5 internal organs. If he wanted to turn the spirit seeds into internal organs, he would need some guidance. Wang Daoyuan sat on the futon and probed the soul crystals with his divine sense. Soon, he appeared in a valley. On the valley's ground and the cliffs on both sides, there were traces of punches and kicks everywhere. A burly man with a height of 12 feet descended from the sky. This person's blood essence was extremely powerful. Even those half-divine beasts' blood essence fluctuations paled in comparison to his. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly bowed and said, "Junior greets the Divine Lord." The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable waved his hand and said, "There's no need for those complicated formalities. Your physical body is not weak. The cultivation method you cultivate is also a bit interesting. It seems to have borrowed from the true dragon body tempering technique and the Guiyuan sword Immortal's inheritance. The sword intent you cultivate is also the Guiyuan sword intent. In addition, there's another cultivation method that is a bit interesting. Although it's not too brilliant, I have never seen it before. Your inheritance is not bad. There's no need to learn my blood spirit primordial technique." Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Junior is indeed not here to learn the blood spirit primordial technique. I just want to improve my cultivation method. I have some ideas, but I don't know how to improve them, so I wanted to ask for your advice." The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable smiled and said, "If you have any doubts, feel free to ask. The only value I have left here is to answer the questions of the outstanding juniors of the human race." Wang Daoyuan explained the situation of the 5-spirit immortal art and his idea of transforming the 5 spirit seeds into the 5 internal organs of Yuanying. The Blood Spirit Divine Venerable was also a bit surprised. "Junior, you're quite lucky to be able to find all the 5 elemental spiritual fires. Even Mahayana cultivators can do this. If I could find all the 5 elemental spiritual fires back then and merge them into the 5 internal organs, the blood spirit primordial technique would definitely be able to advance to the earth immortal realm. I fused my spirit roots into the 5 internal organs. When I reach the Yuanying realm, my spirit force and blood essence can be transformed. Ordinary cultivators can only transform their spirit sense, blood essence, and spirit force when they reach the soul formation realm. However, the transformation of my blood essence is basically unrestricted. A large amount of spirit force can be transformed into blood essence to strengthen the body. Back then, I could be said to be the best in the Qian Yuan realm in terms of physical strength. Even Earth Immortals could not be compared to me." Wang Daoyuan was a bit surprised. He was also a body refiner, so he naturally knew what it meant to transform spirit force into blood essence. With the divine power, he could guarantee that his spirit force was unlimited. If he could transform it into blood essence at will, with unlimited blood essence, the growth of his body would be extremely terrifying. The blood-spirit divinity continued, "This idea of yours is similar to my blood-spirit primordial art. In particular, the spirit seed is very interesting. If you use ordinary spirit objects to form a spirit seed, it will only be at the level of a third-rate cultivation technique. However, you can use spirit fire to form a spirit seed and have the potential to cultivate to the earth immortal realm. Cultivating the internal organs inside the Yuanying will make the Yuanying closer to a real life and have a greater advantage in comprehending the laws. Many people have this idea, but they have not succeeded. You have the 5 elemental spiritual seeds as a foundation, so there is some hope. However, you need to use the spirit seed to transform the Yuanying's internal organs. This is much more difficult than my blood-spirit primordial technique. If you succeed, your cultivation technique may be able to transform spirit force, blood essence, and divine sense. I don't have much research on divine sense, so I can't help you. However, I can help you deduce the transformation between spirit force and blood essence. Summon the Yuanying, and I will look at the structure of the spirit seed. Try to preserve the functions of the spirit seed and let it display the functions of the 5 internal organs. Wang Daoyuan summoned the Yuanying. The blood-spirit divine venerable's eyes flashed with blood-red light as he inspected the spirit seed. After a long time, he said, "The structure of this spirit seed is very ingenious, but there are many places where it does not conform to the laws. It is ingenious and crude. It should be the result of a low-level cultivator's union of heaven and man. It is not realistic to want to directly transform it into internal organs and ensure its functions. It is better to use the essence of spirit fire to recondense the 5 internal organs and use the spirit seed to nurture the corresponding internal organs. This way, the spirit seed and the 5 internal organs can be preserved, and the difficulty will be greatly reduced." Chapter 8:19. Divine Blood Spirit was indeed a Mahayana cultivator. He only needed to examine the structure of the spirit power seed to guess its origin. Wang Daoyuan nodded. "This spirit power seed was created by my master. When he was at the Violet Palace realm, he gained inspiration from becoming one with the world and gradually perfected it. He failed to break through to the Yuanying realm, so he couldn't perfect the spirit power seed. After I reached the Yuanying realm, I was constantly on the brink of death and didn't have much time to perfect the spirit power seed. It's really rare for a Violet Palace realm and Golden Core realm cultivator to create such a cultivation method. I'll try to use this spirit power seed as a foundation to establish the 5 viscera and blood vessels, so that they can reach a preliminary cycle. As for the deeper levels, I can't do anything. To continue improving, you need a deep understanding of the cultivation method. Without personally cultivating it, it won't be of much use. If you want to improve, you can only rely on yourself to slowly deduce." With that, he began to use the surrounding spirit chi to imitate the structure of the spirit power seed. Then he drew out spirit chi from the spirit power seed and condensed it into a structure similar to the 5 viscera. Then he used something similar to blood vessels and meridians to connect the 5 viscera. The spirit power seed didn't directly participate in the cycle between the 5 viscera. It only provided power for the 5 viscera. After a few days, it finally took shape. Divine Blood Spirit was quite satisfied with the model in front of him. "I can only do this much. This should be able to achieve the basic transformation between spirit power and blood chi. It can also make the Yuanying closer to a complete life, and its future potential should be greater. As for the transformation of spirit power, I don't have the ability to do that. Moreover, I didn't hear of any of my old friends studying this thing. After all, at the Mahayana realm, there is the tribulation of the 3 blights. The main focus is on the fusion of spirit power, and blood chi. Once completely fused, these 3 powers will become immortal power, and you will be able to break through to the earth immortal realm. At that time, no one will care if it can be transformed again. In this illusion, even if there is a problem with cultivation, it won't harm your body. You can boldly try it. As for how to improve in the future, it's up to you. The Beiyuan record also recorded the fusion of spirit power, and blood qi into one and turning into immortal power. At that point, all of his energy would be focused on immortal energy. Indeed, there would not be a problem of conversion. Immortal power was also the best method to resist the third decay tribulation. As long as one had enough immortal power, they could withstand the third decay tribulation. Wang Daoyuan was only in the mid-stage of Yuanying, so immortal energy was still too far away. He summoned the Yuanying out of his body. Under the guidance of the blood-spirit divinity, he extracted the flame essence from the spiritual seed and condensed the embryonic form of the 5 internal organs. It took him more than a month to condense all his internal organs and meridians. He tried to circulate his spiritual energy and convert it into blood essence. In the end, if it wasn't the embryonic form of his internal organs that had problems, then it was the meridians that had problems. His yuanying had directly shattered several times, and cracks had appeared dozens of times. Fortunately, they were in an illusion. Any damage could be healed immediately. Otherwise, even 10 lives wouldn't be enough. With a Mahayana cultivator like divine blood spirit around, any problems could be quickly identified and corrected. After staying in the dreamland for 3 years, he finally improved a cultivation method that could be practiced normally. Now, he could directly convert spiritual energy into blood essence, but the conversion efficiency was still somewhat low. According to divine blood spirit, using the same amount of spiritual energy, the amount of blood essence converted was more than 3 times that of Wang Daoyuan. This was normal. Divine blood spirit had improved his martial arts for who knows how many years. It was definitely much stronger than this hastily developed cultivation method. Wang Daoyuan didn't care. As long as he released the spiritual fire, he could quickly obtain a large amount of spiritual energy. Taking unlimited things and converting them into limited and urgently needed things was naturally a profit. Soon, his divine sense exited the dreamland. He took some 7-leaf ghost-faced flower dew and recovered his divine sense. Then, he began to practice the improved cultivation method. Yuanying entered the space of the spiritual pearl and began to condense the 5 internal organs and simple blood vessels and meridians. At this time, on the river near Qingli County's Wanchuan Market, rank 4 monsters began to become active. The defensive formation of the market had been opened. Jia Qi, the sword cultivator puppet, Wang Shui, and Wang Daojian were all in the market, preparing to deal with the Chongdiao. As time passed, there were more and more monsters outside. Some monsters even tried to attack the formation. Jia Qi said, "These monsters are too rampant. I'll go out and give them a hard time." Wang Shui hurriedly dissuaded. Previously, the rank 4 monsters were already obedient. Now that they took the initiative to come out and seek death, there must be a rank 5 monster behind them. Dao Yuan sent a message that there is a rank 5 primordial beast escaping along the Wanchuan River from the West Sea. It must be that guy. We can't judge the strength of the primordial beast. This beast didn't come out most likely because it wants to rely on these rank 4 monsters to consume our strength. Moreover, Dao Yuan has been guessing that there must be hidden rank 5 monsters in the East Sea, Wanchuan River, and Sky/Mountain Range. If the Chongdiao colluded with the hidden rank 5 monsters and acted rashly, they may be surrounded and killed. The enemy's situation is not clear. Don't act rashly. Wang Daoyuan was not by his side. Jia Qi's actions were more controlled by his personality. This guy was also a bit rash. Before Wang Daoyuan left, he had ordered him to listen to the 12th uncle and Zhou Wan. Now that the 12th uncle had spoken, he had no objections. However, the monsters would not just wait. Seeing that their provocation failed, most of the monsters began to attack the formation. A few monsters even went around the Wanchuan market and headed north. The Wanchuan market was at the mouth of Qingli River. The market's formation had already been opened. It was impossible for the monsters to use the river water to sneak over. After going around the Wanchuan market, they had to go ashore. Near the Wanchuan market. When the Zhao clan revived the country, the sixth prince occupied the Wanchuan market. Most of the local clans were wiped out. Now, more than 90% of the spirit veins and various industries in the south of Qingli County belonged to the Wang clan. If the monsters went around, the Wang clan's losses would be great. Jia Qi was a bit anxious. Why don't I go out? If I continue to let the monsters roam free, the losses will be too great. Wang Shui still shook his head. I don't care about a few rank 4 monsters. Jia Qi, you control the formation here and attack the monsters nearby. As for the monsters that go ashore, I'll deal with them. A group of aquatic monsters could not exert much strength away from the river. Wang Daojian also stood up. My aptitude is not very good. It is all thanks to Seventh Brother's help that I am where I am today. Now that I have comprehended the Guiyuan sword intent, killing a few rank 4 monsters on the shore is nothing. After saying that, the two left the market together and intercepted the monsters that went ashore. Those that dared to go ashore were at least rank 4 upper-grade monsters. The two's cultivation was still too low. However, these monsters fought on their own without the slightest cooperation. The two stared at a monster that looked like a catfish. Wang Shui condensed 1,000 feet long water dragon and directly entangled the catfish. The catfish had rank 4 upper-grade cultivation and looked down on Wang Shui. A mere golden core middle stage dares to court death. Wang Daojian took out a simple long sword and condensed the demon-slaying sword, slashing at the catfish. The catfish frantically swung its tail, trying to break free from the water dragon. But the water dragon tightened its grip. It was abnormally terrified. This is a minor theurgy. Just as it finished speaking, the demon-slaying sword landed on its body. Its fat body was cut in two by the demon-slaying sword and quickly lost its vitality. Wang Daojian was a bit surprised. 12th uncle, when did you comprehend a minor theurgy? What is it? Wang Shui answered, I just comprehended it not long ago. It is the same as the old ancestors' minor theurgy, which is also water manipulation. In the scripture pavilion, there are the essences of theurgy that Daoyuan left behind. There are methods to comprehend minor theurgies. You can go and try. Chapter 820. The two of them quickly set their sights on their next target. It was a Tier 4 high-grade monster fish. There was nothing strange about its body, but it had a pair of wings. As they flew, they even created huge waves in the Wanchuan River. If Wang Daoyuan was here, he would be able to recognize that this was one of the primordial beasts, the luo fish. This fellow's minor divine ability was also water manipulation. However, its ability to borrow water power to fight was not very good. At most, it could cause a flood. The primordial mutant beast must have come from the West Sea. If it wasn't for this minor divine ability, it wouldn't have survived until now. Wang Shui's water dragon merged into the waves created by the luo fish and swam towards it. Soon, the water dragon swept past Luo Yu's back. With a flick of its tail, the huge wave behind it changed direction and took the water dragon elsewhere. Wang Shui controlled the water dragon and left the giant wave. Wang Daojian swung his sword at Luo Yu. Wang Daojian's sword didn't have anything special about it, but there were some fluctuations of spiritual power on the surface. Luo Yu saw that his cultivation was low and did not think much of it. With a flap of its wings, a water column with a diameter of 1 zhang separated from the huge wave and headed straight for Chu Li. However, he did not expect Wang Daojian's sword to be so ridiculously powerful that it could pierce through the water pillar. After piercing through the water column, an astonishing killing intent erupted from the long sword. Luo Yu turned pale with fright and hurriedly dodged, but one of his wings was still sliced off. Seeing that his attack was successful, Zhang Xian chased after him once more. Luo Yu didn't dare to fight anymore and fled into the Wanchuan River with the huge wave. Wang Shui controlled the water dragon to chase after it, but it was blocked by the huge waves, allowing the Luo fish to successfully escape into the river. Now that this primordial mutated beast had been defeated, the other demonic beasts grew timid. They didn't dare to venture deeper into the land and retreated into the myriad rivers. Wang Shui was shocked. Dao Jian, your strength has increased dramatically in the past few years. I'm no longer your match. Wang Daojian smiled and said, it was seventh brother who left me some sword cultivation legacy. After I changed my cultivation technique, my strength increased greatly. He even left me a sword intent, allowing me to comprehend the Guiyuan sword intent. My strength is weaker than yours, but this strange fish is distracted by you. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for my sword to hurt it. That's not easy either. An early golden core stage cultivator can injure a 4th-tier upper-grade demonic beast. His strength is far beyond his peers. The two of them did not dare to stay outside for long. They put away the carcass of the catfish they had killed earlier and quickly returned to Wanchuan Market. At this time, a portion of spiritual energy was split off from the defensive barrier of the market and turned into 3 giant sharks. The 3 sharks opened their bloody mouths and bit at the 3 demonic beasts. This was Jia Qi's method. It was easy to deal with rank 4 demonic beasts, and the 3 demonic beasts were instantly killed. The giant shark still had plenty of energy left and continued to attack the other demonic beasts. The demonic beasts quickly hid and left the Wanchuan market. The giant shark was summoned with the help of the array formation, so it couldn't stray too far from the array formation. Therefore, it didn't give chase and returned to the defensive light barrier. The demonic beasts were still gathered 200 miles downstream of Wanchuan market. They didn't dare to approach, but they didn't disperse either. The two sides continued to be in a stalemate. The Wang family members didn't dare to enter the river, and the demonic beasts didn't dare to come ashore. At this moment, in the heavenly mystery pagoda, Wang Daoyuan was condensing the 5 organs in Yuanying's body. This was not an experiment, so he was even more careful. He slowly drew out the spiritual fire essence from the 5 spiritual energy seeds and condensed the 5 organs. The kidneys were extremely important. There were 2 more, so it was more difficult to condense them. At the same time, he drew out the spiritual fire essence from the water spiritual energy seed and condensed 2 kidneys that were less than an inch long. The 2 kidneys were connected to the spiritual energy seed at the same time. There were also 2 lungs, which were condensed from the spiritual fire essence of the Tai golden flames. After the 5 organs were formed, he drew out the spiritual fire essence and condensed something similar to blood vessels and meridians to connect the 5 organs. Half a year passed in the space. The 5 organs, simple blood vessels, and meridians were all condensed. Yuanying returned to his body and circulated the improved 5 spirits immortal transformation technique. After the spiritual energy was refined by the spiritual fire, it quickly entered Yuanying. After passing through the spiritual energy seeds, it entered Yuanying's 5 organs and circulated continuously in his 5 organs. After the spiritual energy was converted by the 5 organs, it was continuously converted into qi and blood energy. Wang Daoyuan guided the qi and blood energy into his body and performed the body tempering part of the technique. Just circulating the technique for 2 hours was equivalent to a day's effect. There were no problems during the circulation process. On the other hand, Yuanying was more agile and did not look any different from a real baby. Previously, Divine Venerable Blood Spirit had said that he did not cultivate this technique and could only help deduce it. He had already reached his limit. He could not help with any further improvements, so there was no need for him to enter again. After staying in the Heavenly Mystery Tower for a few days, it was time to go out and take a look. He also took a look at the Sword Immortal Legacy in the Heavenly Mystery Tower and discovered that it did not belong to Sword Immortal Beiyuan. In that case, there was not much point in using it as a reference. No matter how brilliant the sword intent of other sword cultivators was, it could only be a small branch of his own sword intent. After leaving the Heavenly Mystery Tower, he received a message from Xiaofan. This message was sent from Blood Shadow and the Divine Weapon Pavilion, and it explained the situation at Wanshuan Market. Wang Daoyuan was rather gratified. The 12th uncle had a minor divine power and could be considered an expert. Wang Daojian made him even more overjoyed. The Purple Mansion phenomenon was the sword of Beiyuan. Cultivating the sword of Beiyuan was like having divine help. In just a few years, he had integrated the sword of Beiyuan. Wanshuan Market was very stable, so he had nothing to worry about. Tribulation clouds covered more than 150 kilometers north of the Heavenly Mystery Tower. This should be a half-step Yuanying cultivator who had successfully formed his nascent soul and was about to undergo the Yuanying heavenly tribulation. In order to avoid disturbing the person undergoing the tribulation, he did not use his divine perception to check. The 6 people who were attempting to form their nascent souls were probably the sect masters of the 4 top factions and the retired emperors of Zhou and Qin. They all had inherited Dharma artifacts, so the heavenly tribulation would not affect them much. The only threat was the final divine power tribulation. However, they had all accumulated it for hundreds of years. The success rate of forming their nascent souls and transcending the tribulation was much higher than that of ordinary cultivators. Wang Daoyuan could not help with these matters, so he entered the Heavenly Mystery Tower to improve his alchemy skills. In the space of the Spirit Pearl, he had already harvested a batch of spirit herbs for the nascent cultivating pill and the 9 deaths soul return pill. His alchemy skills had been stuck at superior grade tier 4 and could not refine tier 5 pills. With a divine artifact like the Heavenly Mystery Tower, he felt that it would be a loss if he did not reap more benefits. After entering the first level of the Heavenly Mystery Tower, the alchemy inheritance was mostly the same, but the methods were slightly different. It did not matter which senior he learned from. He casually found a futon and sat down. The information of the inheritance was written next to the soul crystal in front of him. The owner of this inheritance was called the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable. From the name, one could tell that this senior's alchemy techniques were very unique. He used his divine perception to probe the soul crystal and saw an alchemy room in front of him. There were 2 fire pits on the ground, and each of them had a pill furnace. Wang Daoyuan was sitting cross-legged in front of one pill furnace, and a thin old man was sitting next to the other pill furnace. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly stood up and bowed. "Greetings, senior." The Thousand Hands Divine Venerable replied, "No need to be so polite. Since you are here to learn alchemy, you can refine a cauldron of pills first. In this illusion, you can refine whatever pill you want, and the raw materials will automatically appear." Previously, when he was in the Sea of 7 Stars, he refined the most high-grade tier 4 Beast Blood Heavenly Pill. With a thought, the raw materials for the Beast Blood Heavenly Pill appeared in his hand. Using these raw materials, he quickly refined a cauldron of pills, producing 5 pills. The Thousand Hands Divine Venerable nodded. "Not bad. Your divine perception is strong enough, and your alchemy foundation is very solid. It's just that your alchemy technique is too crude." This old man's name is the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable. "In terms of technique, there are very few alchemists who can match me. In the past, I refined tier 8 pills for earthly immortals, so I can be considered a tier 8 alchemist. I will demonstrate it to you once. After you learn my technique, you should be able to try refining tier 5 low-grade pills." After saying that, the Thousand Hands Divine Venerable began refining the Beast Blood Heavenly Pill. His technique was worthy of his name. Whether it was processing spiritual herbs or condensing pill veins, his speed was extremely fast. With Wang Daoyuan's cultivation, he could barely see the technique. In just a quarter of an hour, a cauldron of pills was formed. Chapter 821. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable smiled and said, I've already slowed down as much as possible. With your spiritual sense cultivation, you should be able to see my technique. Use my technique to refine again. I want to see how your talent is. First learn my alchemy technique, then try to refine several furnaces of pills at the same time. This old man can refine more than a dozen pills in one furnace at the same time. It's enough for you to learn a little bit. Wang Daoyuan quickly began to refine pills, imitating Thousand Hands Divine Venerable's technique. It took him half a day to refine a furnace of pills, producing 5 pills. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable nodded and said, not bad. With a new technique, the time is shortened a lot, and it won't affect the success rate. Refine a few furnaces of pills, and when you produce 6 pills, you can try to refine a 5th-tier pill. Wang Daoyuan nodded, and the formed pills disappeared as he continued to refine. Since he started to refine pills, he had always felt his way across the river. No one had ever guided him. Now that he had the guidance of an ancient almighty, his progress was naturally fast. 5 days later, he was able to refine pills in 2 hours, producing 6 pills in one furnace. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable smiled and said, the child is worth teaching. Now you can try to refine a 5th-tier pill. What pill do you want to refine? I'll teach you first. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, Junior wants to refine a 9 deaths soul returning pill. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable began to refine, and while processing the pills, he also explained every step to pay attention to. After demonstrating once, Wang Daoyuan began to refine. It took him 4 hours to successfully refine a cauldron of medicinal pills. The first time he refined, he produced 2 pills. After a few more attempts, the success rate reached 3 pills, and he could be considered a 5th-tier alchemist. Wang Daoyuan spent more than a month and was able to refine 2 furnaces of pills at the same time. Thousand Hands Divine Venerable's alchemy technique could be considered to have reached the entry level. To improve his alchemy level, he needed a lot of practice, and it was impossible to go further in a short time. He bid farewell to Thousand Hands Divine Venerable and left the dreamland. Now that his alchemy had improved, it was time to improve his other techniques. The second level was refining. Although Wang Daoyuan didn't need to improve his refining skills as soon as possible, he needed to improve the spirit-gathering pearl. Before he left Beiyuan, his master had improved the spiritual energy stored in one spiritual gathering pearl. The amount of spiritual energy stored in one spiritual gathering pearl was roughly equivalent to 2 upper-level spiritual stones. It wasn't a problem to use it to power a Tier 5 flying ship, but it wasn't enough to power a battle puppet. Wang Daoyuan's sword puppet was equipped with 3 spirit-gathering pearls. If he fought with all his strength, he could only hold on for half an hour. Once they encountered a strong enemy, it would not be enough. Just like the current situation in Wanchuan Market, the sword puppets didn't dare to make a move. If the spiritual gathering pearl had enough spiritual energy, it could fight for 2 hours. The demonic beasts around Wanchuan Market would not be enough for the sword puppet to practice on. Arriving on the 2nd floor, Zhang Xian took a look at the various legacies and found quite a few legacies regarding the forging of flying warships. The forces in Beiyuan that could refine Tier 4 flying warships just happened to have the qualifications to enter this place. Wang Daoyuan searched for a while and sat down on a futon. The owner of this legacy was called Supreme Divinity Tianzhou. Just by looking at this title, he knew that the level of forging flying ships was extremely high. It was a good opportunity to learn both forging and array formations. Entering it with his divine sense, Zhang Xian found that this illusion was a forging room with a sturdy old man inside. Wang Daoyuan quickly bowed. "Greetings, Senior." Supreme Divinity Tianzhou waved his hand. "No need to be so polite. How are your forging and array formations?" "Low-grade Tier 5 blacksmith and high-grade Tier 4 array master. I once forged a mid-grade Tier 4 flying warship on my own." His array formation cultivation was completely trained by repairing flying ships. When returning from the Sea of Seven Stars, although there weren't many problems with the high-grade Tier 5 flying ship, there were many minor problems. He often used array formations, so his level had improved a little. Divine Sovereign Tianzhou nodded. It's not easy for someone so young to have such attainments in both the Tao of artifact refining and array formation. The spirit power conversion device of a Tier 4 flying warship requires a large number of law inscriptions. It's very difficult to forge it on your own. Since you can forge a mid-grade Tier 4 flying warship on your own, it seems that your talent isn't bad. Wang Daoyuan was a little confused. "Senior, are you talking about those inscriptions that look like pill, tool, and array inscriptions but aren't exactly the same?" "It's those inscriptions. They are the manifestation of law. Yuanian cultivators' understanding of law is still too shallow. If you want to understand law inscriptions, you need to be at least in the soul formation realm. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too low, so you can only learn some minor things. How about this, you can learn how to forge a low-grade Tier 5 flying ship from me. This way, your forging and array formation skills can improve. It's difficult to understand a Tier 5 spirit power conversion device, but it's not difficult to make one." Wang Daoyuan learned how to forge a Tier 5 flying ship from Supreme Divinity Tianzhou. It only took him a year to forge a Tier 5 spirit power conversion device and raise his array formation skills to low-grade Tier 5 flying ship. This surprised Supreme Divinity Tianzhou. Although a Tier 5 spirit power conversion device isn't much different from a Tier 4 flying ship, you are able to forge one in such a short time. But for you to be able to refine it in such a short time, your talent is indeed not bad. After learning this and practicing more, you can even forge a high-grade Tier 5 flying ship. You won't be able to understand anything more profound, so that's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Wang Daoyuan engraved the refining method of the spirit gathering pearl in the illusion. "Senior, this is a magic tool refining method I obtained in my early years. This magic tool is called the spirit gathering pearl. It can absorb spirit energy and convert it into spirit power. After many improvements, it has reached this level. I can use this thing to power the flying ship and puppets. It can save a lot of spirit stones, and it won't be a problem for me to travel across the sea. However, the amount of spirit power it can store is too little. It's still a bit lacking when used on battle puppets. Junior's talent is shallow, and I'm still far from being able to improve it on my own. I'd like to ask Senior to help improve this thing so that it can store more spirit power." Supreme Divinity Tianzhou carefully examined the refining method of the spirit gathering pearl and nodded. "This thing is not bad. In the past, there were many similar magic tools in the Qianyuan realm. The main purpose is to save spirit stones. After all, spirit stones are produced too slowly and can't supply a large number of cultivators. However, the speed at which this thing transforms spirit energy into spirit power is too slow. It can only be used on Tier 4 or Tier 5 magic tools. Factions without high-grade spirit veins can't use this thing. Your spirit gathering pearl uses a multi-layered refining method. It's rather brilliant, but the refining method is also more complicated. I can help you improve it to a Tier 5 magic tool. With nomological inscriptions instead of tool patterns, the spirit power it can store should be about 10 times that of a high-grade spirit stone. However, this thing is already at its limit. don't try to improve it. As for the reason, you will naturally understand when you reach the soul formation realm. Saying too much now will only affect your state of mind. Since Mahayana cultivators were so secretive, it most likely involved the heavenly Tao. With Wang Daoyuan's mid-stage Yuanying cultivation, it was better not to touch on this level. He did not dare to ask again. He cupped his hands and said, "In that case, I'll have to trouble you, Senior." Supreme Divinity Tianzhou nodded and began to replace tool patterns with nomological inscriptions. As expected of a Mahayana cultivator, it only took him 5 days to finish improving the spirit-gathering pearl. He also refined a Tier 5 low-grade spirit-gathering pearl. He handed the spirit-gathering pearl to Wang Daoyuan. The spirit power stored is equivalent to 10 high-grade spirit stones. If placed near a Tier 5 low-grade spirit vein, it will take 3 months to absorb the full amount of spirit power. Then, the refining method condensed in the air. Previously, the method of dividing the spirit-gathering pearl into multiple layers was good, but it was too complicated. Now that I'm using nomological inscriptions instead of tool patterns, the refining process is saved a lot. However, the difficulty of inscribing nomological inscriptions has increased a lot. Remember this refining method and don't casually improve it. Wang Daoyuan took the spirit-gathering pearl. The amount of spirit power stored was 5 times more than before, and it did not increase in size. If it was used by the sword puppet, it would be able to fight at full strength for more than an hour. It was not afraid of a battle of attrition. At that moment, the Heaven's Mystery Tower suddenly closed. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly went out. Something big must have happened. Chapter 822. The moment Xiao Chen left the Heavenly Mystery Tower, he received a message from Zhou Wan. It was still from Blood Shadow and the Divine Weapon Pavilion. It wasn't that something major had happened to the Wang clan. The demonic beasts at the Wanchuan market still didn't have the guts to attack them. They only dared to harass them in the river. This news came from the Linhai province. A large number of demonic beasts had gathered in the outer sea. Zhou Wan suspected that a 5th-rank demonic beast had appeared in the outer sea. It was good that they hadn't made a move yet. There was still enough time to go back. Outside the Heavenly Mystery Tower, Daoist Xiantian was already waiting. He had already broken through to the Yuanying realm. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Congratulations on breaking through to Yuanying, Martial Uncle Xiantian. I wonder if the others have succeeded? They're all cultivators with top-notch aptitudes to begin with, and with hundreds of years of accumulation, it's naturally not a problem." Apart from Daoist Mo Lin's legendary magic weapon being damaged during the Heavenly Tribulation, there were no other losses. The suzerains of the 4 top forces, including Daoist Windwing and Daoist Ink Scales, made up 6 Tribulation Transcendence cultivators. Only Daoist Ink Scales' state of Qin had the shallowest foundation. Back then, the state of Qin was just a small vassal state under the state of Zhou. The strongest cultivator they had was only a mid-stage Yuanying cultivator. Their magic artifacts were just ordinary. Now that the legacy artifacts grade had dropped to the 4th grade, it was normal for it to be unable to withstand the lightning tribulation. It wasn't a big deal for the magic tools to be damaged. Compared to Yuanying cultivators, level 5 magic tools were worthless. Daoist Master Xian Tian continued, "I asked you to come out of seclusion this time because there are traces of rank 5 demonic beasts in several places in the sky/mountain range. Spiritual Master Lei Yen is worried that something might happen over there and has already returned to the Divine Weapon Pavilion to oversee things." It was fine as long as the family was safe. Even if a few demonic beasts were to cause trouble in other places, they wouldn't be able to cause too much trouble. Originally, he wanted to improve his talisman crafting skills in the Heaven's Mystery Tower. However, time was tight now. He could only come back in the future. Besides, he basically had no use for talismans now, so it didn't matter if he didn't learn them for the time being. I'll take Grey Rock with me. The Black Ice Tortoise will stay here and help fend off the West Sea monster race. Daoist Xian Tian shook his head and said, the demon beasts in the West Ocean have suffered heavy losses. There won't be any big movements in the near future. Now that there were 6 Yuanian cultivators standing guard, as well as the Yin-Yang Compass and the Heaven's Mystery Tower, there shouldn't be any problems for now. Take the Black Ice Tortoise with you. Back then, the Heavenly/Mountain Range was the demon race's nest. No one knows how many treasures they left behind. Maybe there will be more 5th-rank beasts. With the Ice Tortoise here, we will have one more helper. There's no need. I'm at the Heavenly/Mountain Range. The battle prowess of a Black Ice Tortoise is insignificant. I won't be staying here for long, in case anything happens at the Heavenly/Mountain Range. Goodbye. After he finished speaking, he withdrew a high-grade Grade 5 flying vessel, summoned the Grey Rock, and headed east. With the Grey Rock as a mount, there was no need to worry about the mountain range blocking the way. If they encountered the astral wind layer, they could just ride the Grey Rock and go straight through it. 5th-rank demonic beasts and Yuanian cultivators could stay in the astral winds for a long time. The Grey Rock was extremely fast, so there was no need to worry about wasting time. Soon, the flying boat arrived at the Broken Cloud Mountain on the eastern border of the state of Qin. This mountain range was also extremely tall. The peak of the mountain was deep within the astral wind layer. Putting away the flying boat, he rode the Grey Rock and flew directly to the astral wind layer. The last time he entered the astral wind layer was before leaving Beiyuan to help the Tai Sword sect repair the Tai Divine Sword. At that time, he didn't feel anything when riding the flying warship. Now riding the Grey Rock, he had a very intuitive feeling of the astral wind layer. The 9 heavens astral wind didn't have a fixed wind direction, but it changed at any time. A gust of wind blew, like countless sharp blades cutting on the body. If it wasn't a body refinement cultivator, it was impossible to guarantee that he would be unharmed in the astral wind. However, the Grey Rock didn't care. It was of the wind attribute. It could easily control the astral wind and increase its flying speed. After crossing the Broken Cloud Mountain, he put the Grey Rock into the spiritual pearl space to recover his spiritual power and took out the flying boat again. In less than 3 days, the Heavenly/Mountain Range was already in sight. He still wanted to ambush the demon race, so he put away the flying boat, hid his figure, and quietly went over. The demon race had always wanted to fish out the Yuanian fighting force from the Wang family, so Wang Daoyuan beat them at their own game. The rank 4 demon beasts were still probing the defensive formation in the distance. Some of them were even trying to go around the Wanchuan market and kill their way into Qingli County. At this moment, a long sword suddenly flew out from the Wanchuan market. A cold light flashed past, and a Hui dragon's corpse was instantly separated. The sword puppet flew out and wantonly killed the rank 4 demon beasts that dared to come ashore. More than 10 rank 4 demon beasts were quickly killed and injured. They didn't even have a chance to escape. It still didn't give up. With the long sword in hand, it charged into the Wanchuan River. No matter how reckless the rank 4 demon beasts were, they weren't fools. In front of the rank 5 puppet, they didn't even have a chance to resist. In order to save their lives, they all dived into the river. The sword puppet killed a few more rank 4 demon beasts and attacked randomly on the river surface. When it didn't have much spiritual power left, it turned and headed toward the Wanchuan market. At this moment, a waterspout suddenly surged out of the water and swept toward the sword puppet. As a battle-type puppet, the sword puppet knew some escape techniques. It turned into a sword shadow and escaped to the shore at an extremely fast speed. At this time, the spiritual power in its body was almost exhausted and it could only fall to the ground. A large eagle with a long horn on its head flew out of the river and chased after the sword puppet. It was the Chongdiao. Wang Daoyuan sneered in his heart, "It's not easy to escape from the Jingchuan River. If you directly went into the sea, no one would be able to find you. But you don't know what's good for you and came to find trouble with me." When the Chongdiao left the river surface, Wang Daoyuan used his divine ability. Countless water spiritual energy instantly condensed into a water-blue prison. The Chongdiao attacked the prison with all its might, wanting to escape. Unfortunately, its fighting ability was not very good and was completely unable to shake the black tortoise purgatory. Gui water hell flame was released and the water-blue prison was ignited in an instant, turning into a flame prison. The prison kept shrinking and soon the Chongdiao was unable to move. Wang Daoyuan didn't intend to keep this thing. The Chongdiao was originally not a strange beast that was particularly good at fighting. Other than being a little strange, it had no special value. The reason why he kept the black ice tortoise and the gray rock was because the black ice tortoise could be used as a meat shield and the gray rock was fast. Doppelgangers were limited. Demonic beasts without special value were useless. After Wang Daoyuan killed the Chongdiao, he kept it in the space of the spiritual pearl. He also picked up the exhausted sword puppet and returned to Wanchuan Market. The others were a little worried that the sword puppet's spiritual power was exhausted. Wang Daoyuan suddenly appeared and took care of the Chongdiao. Everyone was relieved and led him into the guardian residence. Wang Shui smiled, "I was wondering why the sword puppet suddenly went crazy and rushed out to kill demonic beasts. So you're back. I've been on tenterhooks all this time. Now I can finally rest assured. There are now 6 nascent soul cultivators in the West Sea. I don't need to look after them for the time being. I'll continue to stay in Yen country. By the way, did anything happen in Tianzhan mountain range and Shanbei?" Wang Daojian replied, "Everything is normal in Shanbei. The demonic beasts have retreated to the vicinity of the Arctic ice field. There are also surrendered half-demonic beasts guarding the north. Naturally, there's no problem. Tianzhan mountain range has always been guarded by 5th great uncle. He even placed the puppet there. The demonic beasts don't even have the guts to approach our Wang family's property, let alone attack." Wang Daoyuan nodded, "That's good. I'm not surprised that the 12th uncle comprehended a minor divine ability. But you were able to comprehend the Guiyuan sword intent in such a short time, which is beyond my expectations. Cultivate well and you'll be a pillar of the family in the future. It's enough to have Jia Qi and the sword puppet here. You guys spend your time on cultivation. In the future, the family will rely on you guys to support it." The 12th uncle and Wang Daojian took their leave. One returned to Yuchuan Peak and the other returned to Shanbei. After Wang Daoyuan gave the sword puppet 3 spirit-gathering pearls, he rode the Grey Rock and followed the Wanchuan River to Linhai Prefecture. There were demonic beasts gathering in the sea. There might be rank 5 demonic beasts causing trouble. If he didn't deter them, they might continue to cause trouble. Chapter 823. With a cry of the Grey Rock, all the demonic beasts within a radius of thousands of miles fled. It only took a quarter of an hour to pass through the thousands of miles of Wanchuan River Valley. After arriving at Linhai Province, Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Gu Qingfeng, asking about the demonic beasts in the sea. Gu Qingfeng was on a small island outside the river mouth at this time. Wang Daoyuan directly commanded the Grey Rock to fly over. Before reaching the island, Gu Qingfeng came up to greet him. The Grey Rock looked around, but did not find any trace of a large group of demonic beasts. Wang Daoyuan asked, "How are the demonic beasts gathering in the sea now?" Gu Qingfeng looked at the huge rock with a wingspan of nearly 100 feet, and felt some fear in his heart. Trembling with fear, he replied, "Replying to Senior, the demonic beasts were gathering at the edge of the deep sea more than 3,000 miles east of the river mouth. Just a quarter of an hour ago, these demonic beasts began to disperse. I don't know what happened, so I observed nearby. Near the Wanchuan River mouth, more than 3,000 miles away from the river mouth, the seabed suddenly dropped, and the depth of the sea rose from about 10,000 feet to 40 to 50,000 feet. If the demonic beasts entered the deep sea, Wang Daoyuan did not dare to rashly enter the sea to investigate. Last time, the 5th-grade old tortoise dared to appear in the shallow sea, and was directly killed by him. This time, the demonic beasts learned their lesson and hid at the edge of the deep sea. Once attacked, they could quickly escape into the deep sea. Not long after the Chongdiao was killed at Wanchuan Market, the demonic beasts here fled. It seemed that the demonic beasts at Wanchuan River had some connection with the demonic beasts here. Where did these demonic beasts flee to? Gu Qingfeng replied, all the demonic beasts fled along the edge of the deep sea towards the north. My strength is low, and I did not dare to provoke them, so I just watched from afar. Wang Daoyuan's heart sank. It seemed that there was trouble in the sea again. If this group of demonic beasts obeyed the Chongdiao, then when the Chongdiao died, the monkeys would scatter. 4th-grade demonic beasts usually fought with each other very fiercely. If there was no 5th-grade demonic beast suppressing them, even if there was no serious internal strife, they would definitely scatter and flee. Now that the demonic beasts were heading north, there was definitely another 5th-grade demonic beast behind them. Wang Daoyuan thought for a moment and said, you go back first. I'll go explore the sea. After saying that, he headed northwest. The Grey Rock's speed was far superior to other demonic beasts of the same rank. It was impossible for rank 4 demonic beasts in the sea to escape from the Grey Rock. A quarter of an hour later, Wang Daoyuan found traces of the demonic beasts. As soon as he discovered the group of demonic beasts, they immediately changed their direction and fled towards the deep sea in the east. Wang Daoyuan was still 2,000 miles away from them, so he couldn't attack them. Looking towards the north, there was a boundless fog that covered the sky and covered the sun. That was the Mirage Fog Sea. The demonic beasts were heading north, most likely to escape into the Mirage Fog Sea. After all, Wang Daoyuan had traveled to the sea before. Only the Mirage Sea near Beiyuan was a little strange. The person who controlled these rank 4 demonic beasts was most likely from the Mirage Fog Sea. When he killed Long Yuntian at the Zijin River branch, he speculated that the nest of the Valley of Beasts was hidden in the Mirage Fog Sea. Then these rank 5 demonic beasts were most likely the descendants of the spirit beasts raised in the Valley of Beasts. The spirit beasts raised in the Valley of Beasts were all strange and strange. There was no lack of divine beasts. If a rank 5 demonic beast appeared among the descendants of this group, their strength couldn't be underestimated. He still didn't know what dangers were hidden in the Mirage Fog Sea. Now that there were traces of rank 5 demonic beasts in many places, he didn't dare to explore the Mirage Fog Sea rashly. He was just in time for the spirit chi to recover and the demonic beasts to awaken. If he was trapped inside and new demonic beasts were to appear, his family would be in danger. The demonic beasts fled into the deep sea, and there was no point in continuing to chase them. He gave up and returned to Linhai State. After informing Gu Qingfeng, he left Linhai State. Wang Mingchen brought many officials of the Yan State to welcome him in Qingli City. After all, he left this time to go to the West Sea to resist the demon race. He killed 8 rank 5 demonic beasts and even captured one alive. This was also a victorious return. Wang Daoyuan also landed outside the south gate of Qingli City. Wang Mingchen had already brought the officials to welcome him outside the city gate. The moment he landed, everyone bowed and said, "Welcome back, retired emperor." Following that, there were even musicians playing music and imperial chariots accompanying. This set of things had the flavor of the Zhou state. It was most likely from the Zhou state. However, this system was also not bad. Since he established a country and declared himself an emperor, his status was also recognized by the four top factions. Some rules still had to be established. Wang Daoyuan entered the palace city under everyone's escort and came to the Imperial Extreme Hall in the center of the palace city to receive the officials' congratulations. After a long time, the officials dispersed. Wang Daoyuan followed Wang Mingchen to take a look at the spirit vein of Qingli City. Before heading to the West Sea, this place was already a rank 3 high-grade spirit vein. Now that a few months had passed, the spirit chi concentration had increased further. It wasn't far from rank 4 low grade. After checking around here, they left Qingli City and returned to Jade Spring Peak. After returning to the underground cave abode, Zhou Wan did not have much joy. Instead, her face was full of worry. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly asked, "Lord Hall Master, what's wrong?" News came from Blood Shadow's headquarters. There's a rank 5 demonic beast appearing near the headquarters. They're asking me for help right now. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was amused. Isn't this a good thing? We've always wanted to subdue Blood Shadow, but we didn't have the time and didn't have a good opportunity either. Now that Blood Shadow's side is asking for help, our side can take advantage of their difficulties. I'll give a call to Master again and let them ignore Blood Shadow's request for help. When Blood Shadow is at the end of the road, whatever price we offer, they'll agree. Zhou Wan glanced at him. My father also had a few good friends in Blood Shadow back then. Among them, there's one called Zhang Yu who's now peak golden core cultivation. In Blood Shadow, his status isn't low either. Before, I was able to become the Hall Master of a rank 1 branch and can freely appoint a rank 2 branch Hall Master. Uncle Zhang also contributed a lot. Although he's quite talented, he was promoted from the middle ranks after all. He doesn't have much foundation in Blood Shadow's upper ranks. Now, Elder Su and the other Blood Shadow's upper ranks are pressuring him, forcing him to ask for help from us. If we just sit back and watch, Elder Su and the others might do something to Zhang Yu. Wang Daoyuan was somewhat curious and asked, "What, Elder Su isn't dead yet?" Long before he went to the Sea of 7 Stars, he heard that Elder Su didn't have long to live. Several decades had passed, but this old guy was still alive. His old life doesn't have many years left, but his ambition isn't small. He still wants to hold on until rank 5 spiritual energy appears. Then, he'll try again and see if he can break through to Yuanying. Wang Daoyuan sneered. This old thing really thinks a lot. After tricking my father-in-law to death, he still wants to break through to Yuanying. If it weren't for the rampant demon beasts and my hands being tied, I would have killed this old guy long ago. If he was smart, he would have killed himself as soon as he knew about our relationship and hid the talented disciples of the Su family. At the very least, he would have left some descendants. Now, he dares to turn around and disgust us. Does he think his neck is harder than my sword? After saying that, he took out the Shanbei Branch Vice Hall Master token and sent a letter to Elder Su. The content was very simple. You killed my father-in-law and now you dare to threaten my wife. Is the Su family ready to be exiled to the West Sea? With Blood Shadow's intelligence network, the situation in the West Sea naturally couldn't be hidden from them. The spiritual energy in the coastal waters was somewhat violent. Ordinary people and low-level cultivators couldn't survive at all. In addition, there were a large number of rank 4 demon beasts and some rank 5 demon beasts. The Su family didn't even have any Yuanying cultivators. There was absolutely no hope of passing down the family. He showed the content of the letter to Zhou Wan. Zhou Wan said, "This letter of yours is probably going to scare Elder Su to death. Even if he still has a breath left, he'll run over and beg for mercy." Chapter 824. After Zhou Wan made a public appearance in the Wang clan, Blood Shadow had not made a statement. In terms of intelligence and status, there was no difference from before. She could still receive all kinds of information from Blood Shadow. According to Blood Shadow's information, rank 5 monsters had appeared in several places near the Heaven/Mountain range. There were none in the Zhao Kingdom, but in the northeast of the Qi Kingdom to the south, the small Hu Kingdom to the south, and the Wu Kingdom even further south. There were traces of rank 5 monsters near the Heaven/Mountain range. In the northeast of the southern wasteland near Blood Shadow, 2 rank 5 monsters were the most rampant. They directly attacked Blood Shadow's property. One of them was a blood-eye golden-winged tiger, while the other was a wolf. According to the information, this guy had some kind of fortuitous encounter that allowed him to awaken the bloodline of the primordial moonhowl wolf. He was no weaker than a blood-eye golden-winged tiger. Neither of these monsters had low cultivations. They were both mid-rank rank 5 monsters. The 3 monsters that had appeared in the Alliance's territory had been hiding all this time. No one had seen them in detail. There was no need to worry about this for now. The 3 monsters in the Alliance's territory most likely knew that there were Yuanian cultivators on the human side. They were also probing to see how deep the water was. Demonic beasts were also close friends. The news of Wang Daoyuan massacring the demonic beasts in Wanchuanha would soon spread. As long as those monsters wanted to live, they would not easily attack. Moreover, these rank 5 monsters fought independently. They were not like the humans, who had a unified command. Thus, the damage they could cause could not compare to that of the West Sea. After this round of counseling, Zhou Wan's mood improved greatly. Wang Daoyuan pulled her into his arms. "How about we discuss Ergu's matter again?" Zhou Wan pinched his waist. "The monsters are rampant. You might need to go out at any time to quell them. I still have to help you watch over the clan." The West Sea was the end of the world. There were rank 5 monsters causing trouble there. The Arctic ice plains was not a good place either. There were endless ice plains there. Many demonic beasts had the ability to enter hibernation to prolong their lifespan, so it was not strange for rank 5 demonic beasts to appear. "You've obtained so many benefits from the Heavenly Mystery Tower this time. If you don't hurry up and digest them and raise your strength as soon as possible, how can you have the time to think about these things?" Since Zhou Wan did not agree, Wang Daoyuan could do nothing about it. "5th rank monstrous beasts don't pose much of a threat to me. Even if it's a peak 5th rank monstrous beast, I can still handle it. I'm just worried that a rank 6 demonic beast might appear. I'm not a match for a rank 6 demonic beast. After all, 20,000 years ago, True Lord Hundred Spirits almost broke through to the divine transformation stage. This means that a 6th-order demonic beast could have appeared in the same era." Zhou Wan shook her head and said, "You don't have to worry about that. Ever since the formation of Tianyuan Abyss, the quality of the spiritual energy in Beiyuan Xiuxian has been declining. Under such circumstances, demonic beasts of the same rank had a long lifespan, which gave them a huge advantage. The ancestors of the human race had long been prepared. When they had nothing to do, they would sweep through the demon race and kill those rank 6 demon beasts. If it weren't for the demonic chaos more than 10,000 years ago, which caused the Yuanian to be wiped out, these rank 5 demon beasts wouldn't be left. Even if there were still rank 6 demon beasts left, there were very few of them. Moreover, even if they could survive until now, they must be in a state of hibernation. The hibernation of demon beasts was not without a price. It required a large amount of true essence, qi, and blood. After waking up, they would need a huge amount of spiritual energy to recover. Now that the rank 5 spirit vein had not appeared yet, the cultivation speed of the Yuanian cultivators and rank 5 demon beasts had been seriously affected by the lack of rank for spiritual energy. When a rank 6 demon beast woke up and relied on rank 4 spiritual energy to recover, it would not be able to exert the power comparable to a divine transformation stage cultivator without a few hundred years. It's hard to say whether it's a match for you. After a few hundred years, will you still be afraid of these rank 6 demon beasts? Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was relieved. If a rank 6 demon beast suddenly appeared, even if it was only at the early stage of the 6th rank, he would not be able to deal with it. When that time came, he could only use the space of the spiritual pearl to take the core members of his family and escape to the Sea of 7 Stars. He had obtained many inheritances in the Heavenly Mystery Tower and had to use them as soon as possible. Especially the rank 5 Spirit Gathering Pearl. If he could install it on the puppet could use its full strength for 5 times longer. With the strength of a rank 5 puppet, it would not be a problem for it to kill hundreds of rank 4 demon beasts in more than an hour. After the improvement of the Spirit Gathering Pearl, there were no more layers. It only needed rank 5 Spirit Jades. Wang Daoyuan also had some of them. It was not a problem for him to make dozens of Spirit Gathering Pearls. Without many layers of patterns, it would save more time to make them. Although the improved law pattern was more difficult to inscribe, a few days would be enough. A month later, Wang Daoyuan made 6 rank 5 Spirit Gathering Pearls. At this moment, someone from the Wanchuan market asked to see him. The person was wearing a black robe and his face was covered. He was a half-step Yuaniing cultivator and used a concealment secret technique. Ordinary people would not be able to find him. He came outside the Wanchuan market and deliberately revealed a trace of spiritual power to let Jia Qi find him. After Wang Daoyuan received the news, he used his panoramic perception clone. He asked, "Who are you? Why are you here?" The black-robed man replied, "Junior Blood Shadow Su Boyu requests to see the retired emperor of the Yen Kingdom." This guy was Zhou Wan's sworn enemy, Elder Su. It seemed that the previous threat was useful. This guy really came to beg for mercy. Of course, this matter could not be let go so easily. Jia Qi used his divine sense to lead him to the guardian residence. "Wait here first. The retired emperor will be here soon." Wang Daoyuan, who was in the underground cave, asked Zhou Wan, "That old guy surnamed Su is here. Do you want to come with me to see?" Zhou Wan's face showed hatred and said coldly, "Why shouldn't I go? He killed my father and sent me to Shanbei for hundreds of years. I want to see if he has the face to beg for mercy." The two rode the Grey Rock and arrived at the Wanchuan market in just over 2 hours. They entered the Guardian Residence's meeting hall and sat down on the main seat. Su Boyu quickly got up and bowed. Sinner Su Boyu greets the retired emperor and the Empress Dowager. Wang Daoyuan glanced at him and said, "I say, Elder Su, your courage is really not ordinary. You know Zhou Wan is my Dao companion and you dare to use Zhang Yu to force her to go to the Blood Shadow headquarters. Do you think I'm soft-hearted or won't kill?" Su Boyu trembled in fear. "I'm here to ask for forgiveness. I've committed a heinous crime and I dare not live an ignoble life. I just want to beg the retired emperor and the Empress Dowager to be merciful and leave the Su family a root. The entire Su family is willing to be slaves to atone for our sins." Wang Daoyuan glanced at Zhou Wan. "The Su family killed your father and bullied you for more than 100 years. We'll leave the Su family to you. We'll do whatever you say." Zhou Wan snorted. "Your grandson was incompetent and wasn't my opponent. Why can't I beat him? The Su family is tyrannical and wants to suppress me because of this. Your grandson's talent can only be considered second-rate among the blood wolves, and his character has no redeeming qualities. He's jealous of talents and womanizing. He's also a coward. You want to marry me with this kind of trash? You sent me to the north of the mountain, and I have to thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have met Dao Yuan, and I wouldn't have had the chance to cultivate to the Yuanying realm. I can forgive you for suppressing me, but you shouldn't have killed my father. The hatred of killing one's father is irreconcilable. You killed my father, but I won't take my anger out on the entire Su family. Those who participated in my father's death will all be executed. The others can continue to stay in the blood shadow, but if they conspire again, it'll be a disaster for the entire family. He thought it would be good enough to leave a bloodline inheritance, but he didn't expect Zhou Wan to only deal with the enemies who killed her father. Su Boyu hurriedly bowed. Thank you, Empress Dowager, for showing mercy. Thank you, retired emperor. The Su family is willing to serve retired emperor and Empress Dowager. If there's any disobedience, may the heavens punish us. Chapter 825. Wang Daoyuan didn't speak directly. Zhou Wan snorted coldly, you have to let the Su family remember this sentence. I can let you go once, but I won't let you go a second time. Su Boyu hurriedly cupped his hands and said, don't worry, Empress Dowager. I have a suggestion. Blood Shadow is now threatened by the Demon Clan. If the Supreme Emperor can solve the Demon Clan, the Su family is willing to protect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Lord. After the Empress Dowager broke through the Yuanying realm, there were some voices inside the Blood Shadow that supported the Empress Dowager to be the Shadow Lord. It's just that their power is too small to make the decision. Now that the Su family is also supporting it, the probability of success is very high. Although the Blood Shadow is not a permanent Shadow Lord, the Great Elder usually presides over the affairs, and the elders discuss and make decisions. But now that there has been a big change, no one dares to say anything about the establishment of the Shadow Lord. As the only Yuanying cultivator in the Blood Shadow, the Empress Dowager should be the Shadow Lord. Su Boyu looked at the faces of Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan. Seeing that they didn't have much reaction, he was relieved. Forgive me for being blunt. Although the Wang family has been recognized by the 4 top forces and guards the Sky Beheading Mountain Range, the Wang family's foundation is still too shallow. The Supreme Emperor can kill Qiong Qi and Snake Xiu of the 5th rank upper grade. His strength is indeed the best in Beiyuan, and the Wang family has also obtained a lot of inheritance. But in terms of the number of cultivators and the system of cultivating cultivators, the Wang family is probably at the level of a small country like Shang State, or even worse. If the Empress Dowager enters the Blood Shadow, the Wang family will be able to enter the upper echelons of the Blood Shadow. Although the strength and foundation of the Blood Shadow are inferior to the 4 top forces, the founder of the Blood Shadow is also a Mahayana cultivator. After tens of thousands of years of development, there is also a perfect inheritance system. The disciples of the Wang family enter the Blood Shadow and use this perfect system to cultivate their own disciples. It only takes a few hundred years to make up for the shortcomings of the inheritance system. Not to say that it can catch up with the 4 top forces, at least it can be compared with the Qin state. The Wang family is backed by the Sky Beheading Mountain Range and suppressing the Demon Clan, so it has sufficient resources and space for development. After a few more generations, they will eventually catch up with the top forces and become the true master of the East. Wang Daoyuan thought to himself, this Elder Su is indeed a shrewd person. He almost guessed my family's plan. The people who had participated in the murder of his father-in-law must have been the core of the Su family. After this purge, the Su family's power would suffer a heavy blow. In the past, when he was in the limelight, he had done many tyrannical things. Now that they had declined, there would definitely be people who would take revenge on them. If they allowed the other factions to suppress them, even if the Su family did not perish, they might not be able to recover. Pulling the Wang family into the Blood Shadow, the Su family became a vassal of the Wang family. The Wang clan's foundation was too shallow, and they didn't have enough manpower. It was impossible for them to invest too many people into Blood Shadow. If he wanted to be in power, he would have to use other forces. By relying on the Wang clan, the Su clan could still maintain a relatively high status. Although she had seen through Su Boyu's cunning mind, this was also human nature. Furthermore, Su Boyu's plan would only benefit the Wang clan. This was originally the Wang clan's established strategy. With the Su clan's cooperation, it would be much easier in the beginning. As for the future, he had the space in the Spirit Pearl in his hands, and he definitely did not lack all kinds of important resources. With enough important resources and a vast space for development, the Wang clan's future development speed would far surpass the other forces. When he had a few more Yuanying cultivators in his family, he would not need to be afraid of anyone. This matter concerned the future direction of the Wang clan, so Zhou Wan did not make the decision. Wang Daoyuan pretended to be deep in thought, while Su Boyu was so nervous that he was sweating. This was the Su clan's only way to preserve their vitality. If they could not grasp it, the Su clan would completely decline. After a long time, Wang Daoyuan nodded. Elder Su's plan is very tempting. You're right. The Wang clan's biggest shortcoming is the inheritance system. If we can let our clansmen enter the Blood Shadow, it will indeed be very beneficial to the Wang clan's development. However, the Su clan's people who killed my father-in-law still have to die. Hearing this, Elder Su was overjoyed. I dare not drag out an ignoble existence. If the retired emperor and the Empress Dowager can give the Su clan a chance, I am already very grateful. Wang Daoyuan asked again, what do you think about the Blood Shadow's request for help? Elder Su replied, in reply to the retired emperor, I think there is no need to deal with this matter so quickly. The Blood Shadow's headquarters is guarded by treasures left behind from the Antiquity Age. Without the strength of a peak Yuanying, it is impossible to break through. Although a rank 5 demonic beast is powerful, it is not enough to break the Blood Shadow's inheritance. In my opinion, we should delay for a while and let the Blood Shadow lose more assets. When the various elders feel the pinch, they will naturally make greater concessions, and the Empress Dowager will have less resistance to becoming the Shadow Master. This was also expected. The Archaic Mysteries sect had the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda, which a Yuanying could not break through. The Treasure Cauldron Mountain of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Sword-like Mountain of the Tai Sword sect were not ordinary objects. They should have the same function as the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Although the Blood Shadow's foundation was not as strong as the 4 great powers, it still had this bit of foundation. If not for the fact that Wang Daoyuan displayed the strength of a peak Yuanying, Su Boyu would not have come to beg for mercy. The three of them talked for a long time before Su Boyu left satisfied. Zhou Wan then said, looks like all treacherous villains are the same. You and Su Boyu have the same thoughts. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, this is called great minds think alike. It is just that Su Boyu is still lacking. He likes to scheme too much, and his methods are too different. Only by using both yin and yang can he be a qualified leader. Although I use schemes too, without enough benefits, I will definitely not do it. Even if I do, there will definitely be someone to take the blame. For example, back then when I schemed against the Meng clan, it was the Liang clan who took the blame. Now that the Yen kingdom is recognized by the 4 great powers, I fought for it openly. The conflict between you and the Su clan is just a small matter. Su Boyu is too narrow-minded. For a bit of face, he openly used underhanded methods. This is a mixture of yin and yang. Neither of them is right. Even if I did not stir up the situation, the Su clan would not have gained any benefits. They invested a lot of resources and damaged the Su clan's reputation. They did not gain any real benefits and even caused the Blood Shadow to be dissatisfied. This is the difference between a person's mindset and a person's mindset. If you only have wisdom and no mindset, you are not qualified to be a leader. Zhou Wan glanced at him and said, treacherous villains are birds of a feather, and you still say it so righteously. Wang Daoyuan was thick-skinned enough to not care about Zhou Wan's ridicule. He replaced the sword puppet with a rank 5 spirit-gathering pearl and gave the improved cultivation technique to Jia Qi. Then, he returned to Jade Spring Peak with Zhou Wan. The other close combat puppet was also replaced with a rank 5 spirit-gathering pearl. For the time being, there was no need to refine a magic tool. He would refine the 9 Deaths Soul Return Pill in the cave abode under Jade Spring Peak and strive to raise his alchemy level to rank 5 middle grade as soon as possible. At that time, he would be able to refine the nascent cultivating pill by himself. The spiritual energy in Beiyuan was thin, and his cultivation speed would be greatly affected. He didn't plan to go to the Sea of 7 Stars for the time being. If he wanted to maintain his cultivation speed, the nascent cultivating pill was essential. After refining pills for half a year on Jade Spring Peak, news came from Blood Shadow again. Elder Su sent a message saying that the 2 rank 5 demonic beasts were increasingly rampant. They gathered a large number of rank 4 demonic beasts and vicious beasts in the southern wasteland and sky/mountain range and wantonly besieged Blood Shadow's industries. In this half a year, Blood Shadow had lost more than 20 industries, more than 10 golden core cultivators, and more than 1,000 Zifu cultivators and below. Now, those old fellows couldn't hold on any longer. Blood Shadow's current Grand Elder, Zhang Dingming, planned to come personally and ask Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan to help. The 2 biggest forces in Blood Shadow were the Zhang clan and the Su clan. The ancestors of these 2 clans were the ones who established Blood Shadow back then. After tens of thousands of years, Blood Shadow was still under the control of these 2 clans. The Su clan was already willing to submit. If the Zhang clan also agreed, Zhou Wan would definitely become Blood Shadow's leader. Chapter 826. Su Boyu worked very hard to curry favor with the Wang family, and his message was very accurate. 10 days after he sent the message, Zhang Dingming came to Wanchuan Market and asked to see Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan. This guy's appearance was not bad. He wore a white Daoist robe, and his hair and beard were all white. His long eyebrows reached his temples, and his long beard fluttered in the wind. He looked like an immortal. He didn't look much different from a cultivator from a righteous sect. It was hard to imagine that such a kind old man was the leader of the #1 assassin organization in Beiyuan. Different from Su Boyu's visit, this was a discussion between the leaders of 2 major forces, so it was naturally more formal. Wanchuan Market sent a flying boat to send Zhang Dingming to Yuchuan Peak. Then, Wang Mingshan personally led him to the auditorium, where Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan were already seated. Zhang Dingming bowed as soon as he entered the auditorium. Blood Shadow Grand Elder Zhang Dingming greets Yan Country's retired Emperor and Empress. Now, there are 5th-rank demonic beasts running amok near Blood Shadow. I hope Empress Dowager can save the cultivators of Blood Shadow for the sake of being from Blood Shadow. We will be deeply grateful. This Grand Elder was really slippery. His mouth was full of beautiful words, but he didn't show any practical expression. Wang Daoyuan sighed. Zhang Daoyu came at a bad time. Half a year ago, there were 5th-rank demonic beasts causing trouble in Wanchuan Market. At that time, there were hundreds of demonic beasts gathered in the outer sea of Linhai State. There might be 5th-rank demonic beasts hiding in the dark. There were traces of 5th-rank demonic beasts in Qi, Hu, and Wu. Yan Country was recognized by the 4 top forces and replaced the Valley of Beasts to guard the east of the human race. These 3 countries were attacked by demonic beasts, so I naturally have to take care of them. I'm really tied up with business and can't leave. Although Blood Shadow is also a human force, it has never been under the jurisdiction of the 4 top forces. During the demonic chaos in the southern wasteland, you didn't respond to the conscription order of the four top forces. Yen country guards the east, so we naturally don't need to care about Blood Shadow. Blood Shadow is also a great force that has been around for tens of thousands of years. 2 rank 5 demonic beasts should still be able to deal with them. These words of his blocked Zhang Dingming's words. Back then, when the humankind was in the most dangerous situation, Blood Shadow didn't respond to the summons, because he didn't consider himself a member of the humankind. If a non-human force asked for help, even if they didn't, no one could say anything. Zhang Dingming had wanted to talk about the greater good of the human race, but he couldn't bring himself to say it now. As for the relationship between Zhou Wan and Blood Shadow, when the Su family suppressed her back then, the Zhang family definitely had the ability to stop them. However, they did not make a move and allowed the Su family to run amok. After Zhou Wan broke through to the Jindan stage, she was given a little more power. It was not worth such a big help. Moreover, they were 2 5th-order mid-tier demonic beasts with extraordinary strength. Zhou Wan made a move, but it was useless. He still had to use his relationship with Zhou Wan to get Wang Daoyuan to make a move. Wang Daoyuan was not a direct descendant of Blood Shadow, and he didn't have any relatives at the Blood Shadow headquarters. Zhang Dingming knew that he was in the wrong, but he couldn't find a reason to get Wang Daoyuan to help. After a long silence, he sighed. The Empress Dowager is still the Hall Master of the Blood Shadow Mountain's North First Branch. She grew up in the Blood Wolves and is also a direct descendant of Blood Shadow. According to Blood Shadow's rules, a direct descendant who has reached the half-Yuanying realm is qualified to become the Blood Shadow Great Elder. Now that the Empress Dowager is already a Yuanying realm cultivator, there is nothing wrong with her being the Great Elder. I'm useless. I've been the Great Elder for more than 400 years, and now I'm at my wit's end because of the demonic beasts. I'm willing to step down and let the Empress Dowager be the Great Elder of Blood Shadow. Old Zhang wanted to take a step back, but he hadn't done so yet. In Blood Shadow, the Shadow Master was the Emperor, and he could decide everything. The Great Elder's position was much lower. Although he had the highest authority and could order anyone in Blood Shadow to do something, he didn't have the authority to do it. When he wanted to make a decision, it had to be discussed with the other elders. The decision could only be made if the majority of the elders agreed. Moreover, the elders had the authority to dismiss the Great Elder, but they didn't have the authority to dismiss the Shadow Master. Zhou Wan was also a shrewd person. Naturally, she wouldn't be fooled by this little trick. The Great Elder is a person of virtue and prestige. You've been conscientious for hundreds of years and have managed Blood Shadow well. I've always stayed in the wilderness north of the mountain and have never held a post in Blood Shadow's headquarters. How could I dare to ask the Great Elder to step down? Moreover, I'm only a Yuanying realm cultivator. Even if I borrowed the Phoenix flag, the Zhou dynasty's heirloom, I'm not a match for 2 mid-tier 5th-rank demonic beasts. Since Zhou Wan was playing the good cop, Wang Daoyuan naturally played the bad cop. Zhou Wan's cultivation is still shallow. She can't deal with mid-tier 5th-rank demonic beasts. No matter what, I won't let her go to the southern wasteland alone. I suggest that you shrink your manpower and stay in the headquarters. With the protection of the formation, you don't have to be afraid of the demonic beasts. When I find out all the demonic beasts hidden in the Sky Mountain Range and the East Sea, I'll go to the southern wasteland to help you. Hearing this, Zhang Dingming immediately became anxious. The Sky Mountain Range was the main spiritual vein of Beiyuan. No one knew how many secret realms it gave birth to. Not to mention the sea further east. It was boundless. Who knew how many demonic beasts were hidden there? It was impossible to solve all the demonic beasts in such a large area without hundreds of years. Blood Shadow had been blocked by demonic beasts in the headquarters for hundreds of years. The branches in various places had long been out of control. Blood Shadow was different from other forces. It was strong in the intelligence system in various places. Once the branches in various places were out of control, the intelligence system would be useless. Without the intelligence system, Blood Shadow was worse than the Zhou dynasty. It was only a little stronger than the Qin dynasty. In the past, Blood Shadow had offended many other forces. If it was only a little stronger than the Qin dynasty, it couldn't deter other forces at all. It was only a matter of time before it was destroyed. Wang Daoyuan was clearly telling him that the price was too low. The Wang family didn't want this thing. Either give a satisfactory answer, or wait for death. Zhang Dingming sighed at the side, but there was nothing he could do. Blood Shadow needed help from others. In addition to the Great Elder, Blood Shadow also has the position of Shadow Master. The Shadow Master is the master of Blood Shadow, just like an emperor. Only those who have made great contributions to Blood Shadow, have high cultivation, and have the support of the public can take the position. In tens of thousands of years, the number of Shadow Masters that Blood Shadow has produced can be counted on one hand. Now, as the only Yuanian cultivator in Blood Shadow, the Empress Dowager's cultivation is naturally enough. If she can solve the demonic beasts, she will have made great contributions. To elect the Shadow Master, 2/3 of Blood Shadow's cultivators need to agree. My Zhang family's power accounts for about 1/3 of Blood Shadow's power. The Su family's power is about the same as the Zhang family's. As long as we can persuade the Su family, we can elect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Master. It's just that the Su family has a grudge with the Empress Dowager. My Zhang family's agreement may not be effective. It seemed that Zhang Dingming still didn't know about the Su family. Su Boyu's method of secrecy was quite good. Zhang Dingming was willing to compromise, most likely because he knew that the Su family wouldn't agree. As long as the Grand Elder says so, I can help Blood Shadow deal with the demonic beasts. But after killing the demonic beasts, if the Zhang family goes back on their word, then I'll try to see if my strength is enough to overturn Blood Shadow's legacy magic weapon. Zhang Dingming was a little surprised that Wang Daoyuan agreed so readily. He hadn't agreed for a long time, but now he suddenly agreed. It was completely out of his expectations. Don't worry, Grand Emperor. As long as we can deal with the demonic beasts, my Zhang family will unanimously elect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Master. We won't go back on our word. With this promise, Wang Daoyuan was relieved. The Su family was more proactive than the Zhang family. Even if Zhang Dingming dared to go back on his word, the Su family would cooperate with him to deal with him. The Wang family didn't care if Blood Shadow was torn apart. It was fine if they could subdue a part of it. In that case, in half a month, Zhou Luan and I will go to Blood Shadow's headquarters to deal with those demonic beasts. With Wang Daoyuan's promise, Zhang Dingming's face lit up with joy. Thank you, Grand Emperor. Thank you, Empress Dowager. This old man will welcome the two of you at Blood Shadow's headquarters. After discussing the important matters, there was nothing left to talk about. Zhang Dingming quickly took his leave. Chapter 827. After sending Zhang Dingming away, the two returned to the underground cave. Wang Daoyuan took out a beast skin book that was not very thick. After the Heavenly/Mountain Range's spirit vein reaches the 5th rank, many golden core cultivators will break through. At that time, it will be difficult for your cultivation to intimidate the Blood Shadow people. If the Su family causes any trouble again, they will join forces with the Zhang family to make you a mere figurehead. You only have the empty title of Shadow Master, and our efforts will be in vain. This is the doppelganger soul nurturing technique cultivated by the 10,000 Corpse Taoist Master. I went to the Sea of 7 Stars and found a complete one. It won't affect me too much. You should cultivate as soon as possible and condense 2 split souls. After I subdue the 2 5th-rank monsters, you can refine them into doppelgangers. With 2 powerful 5th-rank monsters, the Su family will definitely not dare to rebel. You can also borrow the Su family's power to suppress the Zhang family's counterattack. After our Wang family's disciples slowly enter the blood shadow and cultivate their power, it will be stable. The weakness of this secret technique and the areas that need attention are all in here. You should cultivate as soon as possible. Zhou Wan took the beast skin book and returned to his room to cultivate. Since he was about to go to the southern wasteland, he did not continue to refine pills. He only took a nascent cultivating pill and operated his cultivation method to improve his cultivation. Half a month passed quickly, and it was time to leave. Wang Daoyuan asked Zhou Wan, Hall Master, have you finished cultivating this secret technique? Zhou Wan replied, I have already started. The 2 split souls have also been condensed, but they have not been nourished yet. Wang Daoyuan took out a 3-inch tall jade bottle from the spiritual pearl space and handed it to Zhou Wan. This is the nectar of the 7-leaf ghost face flower. It has a great effect on nourishing the split soul and can also improve the cultivation of the divine sense. Zhou Wan was a little surprised. He had naturally heard of the 7-leaf ghost face flower. He was also well aware of the preciousness of this nectar. He did not expect Wang Daoyuan to take out so much. There were at least 40 to 50 drops of nectar in the jade bottle. I heard that the nectar of the 7-leaf ghost face flower can quickly restore the power of the divine sense. You often fight, so you should keep it. You only need 1 or 2 drops to nourish your divided soul. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, no need, I don't lack these things. After saying that, he took out a few more jade bottles filled with flower dew. Zhou Wan felt relieved and accepted the jade bottle. Wang Daoyuan left the Huipeng at the Jade Spring Peak to guard against the appearance of rank 5 demonic beasts in the northern part of the mountain and the sky/mountain range. The gray rock had grown up at the end of the West Sea. The environment there was extremely harsh, and those who could survive there were not simple people. In terms of strength, they were much stronger than demonic beasts of the same level. With the gray rock around, even if there were rank 5 demonic beasts courting death, they would not be its match. Subsequently, he and Zhou Wan boarded a high-grade 5th-order flying boat and headed to the southern wasteland. Along the way, he didn't stay idle. He specifically went to a few places where rank 5 demonic beasts appeared. He killed a few rank 4 demonic beasts to intimidate them. Of course, this was also for the smaller countries to see. The Yen country was now a major force guarding the east. The country built by humans was threatened by demonic beasts, so he had to show his existence. 2 days later, the flying boat arrived at the edge of the southern wasteland. This place was similar to the Mingsha Plain in the southern part of the Treasure Cauldron Mountain. There was also a place where body refinement cultivators and itinerant cultivators mainly lived. It was called the Jade Wave Sea. This was not a sea, nor was there a particularly large lake. Instead, there were many mountain ranges. It was just that near the sky/mountain range, there were many rivers that converged into small lakes in the mountains. Half of the mountains and the other half were mixed together. The itinerant cultivators here simply called this place a sea. The Blood Shadow headquarters was located in the south of the Jade Wave Sea. There was a rank 5 formation that could soften the violent spirit chi. Being in the southern wasteland, it would not be affected too much. The flying boat continued to fly south for 50,000 to 60,000 kilometers. In front of them was a valley. In the middle of the valley was a small river that flowed north into the Jade Wave Sea. This was the location of the Blood Shadow headquarters. The Blood Shadow had always been dedicated to hiding, so much so that even this valley did not have a name. The flying boat landed in the middle of the valley. 2 white-haired old men appeared out of thin air. They were Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu. The two bowed. "Greetings, Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager." Zhang Dingming continued, "Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager, please enter the headquarters for a chat." Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan nodded and followed the two to the cliff on the side of the valley. Arriving in front of the cliff, Zhang Dingming took out a blood jade token. Under the activation of spirit qi, a blood-red light appeared. A door appeared on the cliff, and the four walked in. The location of the Blood Shadow headquarters was a bit similar to the Blood Demon City that Wang Daoyuan had been to back then. Both were built in natural karst caves, and the space was expanded everywhere. After walking in the karst cave for an hour, they arrived in front of a tall stone door. After entering the stone door, the scene inside made their eyes light up. The inside was similar to the heavenly demon city. Except for the rock layer above instead of the sky, it was not much different from the outside world. There were also mountains, rivers, grass, trees, birds, and beasts. It was just that the outside was protected by a formation, and the spirit qi inside was very gentle. On the rock above, there was something emitting sunlight. Using his divine sense, he found that it was a pearl about a foot in diameter, and there was a soul inside. The aura emitted by this soul was similar to the red-winged crow, and it should have the bloodline of the golden crow. This pearl was at least a high-grade tier 4 magic tool, and it was very effective against demons and demonic cultivators, but it was placed here to illuminate. The entire underground headquarters was more than 1,000 miles wide, and there was a peak tier 4 spirit vein underground. The important institutions of the Blood Shadow were all set up in the center of the underground space. There was a 50-square-mile city there, and there was a large hall in the center of the city. This was where the elders discussed matters, and also the highest authority of the Blood Shadow. Zhang Dingming cupped his hands and said, "Emperor Emeritus and Empress Dowager have traveled hundreds of thousands of miles, and I have already prepared cave residences for the two of you. It won't be too late to take care of the demon beasts after resting for a few days. If the two of you need anything, feel free to ask." Wang Daoyuan did not have any objections. At this time, the elders were the ones who were anxious. The longer they delayed, the more anxious they would be. Zhou Wan shook her head. "There's nothing I need. I've left this place for more than 300 years, so I'll just look around. You can go do your own things. I also grew up here, so I'm very familiar with this place." Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu returned to the discussion hall to deal with the affairs of the Blood Shadow. Zhou Wan brought Wang Daoyuan around the city for a stroll. As they walked, she talked about her childhood, appearing to be very happy. In the end, the two of them arrived in front of a simple courtyard house. There was a plaque above the door with the words, "Zhou Residence" written on it. Zhou Wan's face was no longer happy. Instead, it revealed a trace of sorrow. He took out a black iron token and opened the defensive formation. He pushed open the door and walked into the small courtyard. Everything in the small courtyard was very clean and tidy, as if there were still people living here. The furnishings in the courtyard were also very simple. There was only a stone table and a few stone stools. The appearance of the stone table and stools was exactly the same as the one in the underground cave of Jade Spring Peak. Zhou Wan looked at the table in a daze. After a long time, she said, "Father likes to drink wine at this stone table the most." Tears flowed out of her eyes. Wang Daoyuan pulled her into his embrace and comforted her softly. After a long time, Zhou Wan finally stopped crying. She pushed open the door to the right of the small courtyard. The furnishings inside were also exactly the same as the boudoir in the underground cave of Jade Spring Peak. In the following days, Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan stayed in this small courtyard. Zhang Dingming came to visit every day, wanting to urge the two of them, but he didn't dare to say it out loud and always avoided the topic. On the other hand, Su Boyu didn't dare to come even once. After all, there was a grudge between them. If Xiaofan was upset and was unhappy, she might chop him alive. If that happened, he wouldn't even be able to cry. 10 days later, another mine of the Blood Shadow was besieged by demonic beasts. Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu didn't care about anything else and came to the Zhou residence. As soon as they entered, Zhang Dingming bowed and said, "Two rank 5 demonic beasts are leading a group of rank 4 demonic beasts to besiege Kongming Mountain. Please help us, retired Emperor and Empress Dowager." Chapter 828. Wang Daoyuan pretended to be surprised. The demonic beasts appeared so suddenly. A large group of demonic beasts is not to be trifled with. I did not make any preparations. If I go out rashly, I am not confident that I can kill 2 rank 5 demonic beasts. When he said this, Zhou Wan looked at him with disdain. Since when did you need to prepare to kill demonic beasts? However, the 2 elders had a favor to ask of him. No matter how lousy the excuse was, he had to accept it. Zhang Dingming had lived for a long time and naturally knew what this meant. Don't worry, Grand Emperor. As long as we can resolve the Kongming Mountain siege, even if we can't kill the rank 5 demonic beasts, we will still propose to the elders to elect the Empress Dowager as the Shadow Master. Wang Daoyuan was waiting for this sentence. Since that is the case, I am ready. Let's go. After speaking, he walked out of the courtyard with Zhou Wan and left the Blood Shadow headquarters. They took a flying boat and headed southeast. The 2 elders were dumbfounded. Did they prepare so quickly to kill rank 5 demonic beasts? As a direct descendant of the Blood Shadow, Zhou Wan naturally knew the location of the Kongming Mountain. There was no need for others to lead the way. Wang Daoyuan felt it was strange that the Blood Shadow was so concerned about the Kongming Mountain. Hall Master, what is the Kongming Mountain? Why is Zhang Dingming so nervous? Zhou Wan answered, this is not a secret. The Blood Shadow headquarters has a man-made mystic realm that was left behind tens of thousands of years ago. This kind of mystic realm must have enough spatial spirit items to support it. Just like our Green Willow mystic realm, which is supported by hollow willows. The spatial spirit item used in the Blood Shadow mystic realm is the rank 6 Kongming stone. The price of the Kongming stone was not low. It was the most important spatial attribute material. Some of it was even needed to refine universe rings. The high-grade Kongming stone was also the best material to set up a teleportation array. Zhou Wan continued, the Blood Shadow mystic realm is close to 5,000 miles in diameter. It is the most important property of the Blood Shadow. However, this mystic realm was left behind from ancient times. At that time, it was protected by a rank 6 spirit vein. The Kongming stone was also rank 6. The spatial laws within it could maintain the normal operation of the mystic realm. However, now that he only had a peak rank for spirit vein, the grade of the dark space stone had also decreased. A tier 4 void nether stone was simply insufficient to maintain the operation of such a large mystic realm. If left alone, the Blood Shadow secret realm would slowly shrink, and it might even collapse in the process. In order to maintain the Blood Shadow secret realm, he had to consume a large amount of dark space stones and use the law of space to stabilize the secret realm. The Kongming Mountain was the largest Kongming stone mine in Beiyuan. If it was lost, there wouldn't be enough Kongming stone left to maintain the mystic realm. There's also a large amount of purple cloud wood in the Blood Shadow secret realm, which is a strategic resource. Wang Daoyuan was a little curious. The purple cloud tree can be grown in the mystic realm? Purple qi is the condensation of pure yin and pure yang qi. As long as you can provide pure yin and pure yang qi of the same grade, you can produce some purple qi. You saw the pure yang bead in the headquarters. There was an even stronger one in the mystic realm, which was the sun of the mystic realm. There's also a moonlight pearl as the moon. If this method worked, then he could use this method to deal with the two mystic realms of his own. The two of them chatted along the way and soon arrived at a place more than 1,000 miles northwest of the Kongming Mountain. Looking from afar, there was a mountain with a radius of less than 100 miles and a height of less than 1,000 feet. It was enveloped by a layer of defensive light. There were hundreds of demonic beasts surrounding the mountain. More than 1,000 miles east of the Kongming Mountain, there were two white clouds floating in the sky. The surrounding clouds were all drifting with the wind, but these two clouds stayed in the same place. It was obvious that these two clouds weren't naturally formed. The Kongming Mountain was extremely important, but its location was too poor. It was only about 1,000 miles away from the Sky/Mountain Range's main mountain range. It was probably harassed by demonic beasts and ferocious beasts in the past. It was just that there were no rank 5 demonic beasts in the past, so they couldn't threaten the Kongming Mountain. Wang Daoyuan directly controlled the flying boat and flew towards the demonic beasts below. The two rank 5 demonic beasts stayed in the distance and didn't come over. They were most likely trying to lure more people to their deaths. If they didn't make a move here, they wouldn't come out. The flying boat flew above the Kongming Mountain. Zhou Wan waved her hand, and a scarlet flame surged out. In order to lure the two demonic beasts out, Wang Daoyuan didn't expose his abilities. He only used the vermilion bird fire control technique to condense a vermilion bird phantom, causing the flames to grow stronger. Soon, it turned into a sea of fire. Zhou Wan also condensed a scarlet Wan phantom and merged into the sea of fire. The vermilion bird and scarlet Wan flew side by side, bringing the sea of fire down on the demonic beasts below. Sensing the power of the laws in the flames, most of the demonic beasts panicked and fled in all directions. A few of the demonic beasts still had some courage and used their innate magic to attack. However, their attacks were too weak. When they fell into the sea of fire, they only splashed a ball of flames and then disappeared. When the sea of fire fell, the rank 4 demonic beasts with courage were instantly turned into charcoal. Wang Daoyuan felt that it was a pity. Every rank 4 demonic beast was equivalent to several golden formation pills. The demonic beasts that fled weren't much better off. Under the cover of the sea of fire, the demonic beasts that were slow to escape were quickly devoured. At this time, the two clouds in the east of the Kongming Mountain moved and quickly drifted towards the west. When they arrived in the sky above the Kongming Mountain, a black and a white figure swooped down from the clouds. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan were already prepared. The vermilion bird and scarlet Wan met them with the sea of fire. The two figures were unwilling to face the sea of fire head-on and changed directions to avoid the sea of fire. They slowed down and revealed their original appearance. One was a silver tiger with blood-red eyes and a pair of golden wings on its back. This was the white tiger bloodline half-divine beast, the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger. The other was a pitch-black wolf. There was nothing special about its appearance. However, no one could say for sure how strong a fellow who had awakened the bloodline of an archaic mutated beast was. The blood-eyed golden-winged tiger roared, "What a powerful spiritual fire! Dao Yu of the human race, don't you think you've gone too far by slaughtering the demonic beasts juniors?" Wang Daoyuan sneered, "The Kongming Mountain is also the territory of the human race. Dao Yu of the human race came to the territory of the human race to talk to me about this?" At this point, the human race and the demonic beasts are already irreconcilable. What's the point of talking nonsense? After saying that, the vermilion bird's projection led the sea of fire to suppress the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger. The two demonic beasts showed serious disdain. The blood-eyed golden-winged tiger flapped its wings and released thousands of rays of golden light. The black wolf also opened its mouth and spat out a full moon. Wang Daoyuan found this full moon familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen it. Under the suppression of the golden light and the full moon, the sea of fire quickly shrank. Not long after, the flames slowly extinguished. The two demonic beasts roared excitedly, but they were soon stunned. The surrounding spiritual energy was all turned into fire spiritual energy in an instant, and this fire spiritual energy turned into a red-gold sea of fire. Two red suns rose from the sea of fire and constantly absorbed the red-gold flames. Then, they flew toward the two demonic beasts. They tried their best to dodge, but their speed was completely incomparable to the red suns. The red suns didn't directly smash them to death. Instead, they wrapped up and slowly consumed their spiritual energy. This was a spell that Wang Daoyuan created by imitating the red-feathered crow's minor divine ability. It was called Scorching Sunday. When used together with the red yang real fire in the divine ability domain, its power was needless to say. Previously, he wasn't proficient and couldn't use much power. In the Heaven's Mystery Tower, his control of spiritual energy was greatly increased, and the power of this spell was not weak. The red yang real fire in the sea of fire gathered toward the two red suns, and the red suns gradually turned golden. The two demonic beasts also became more and more strained and gradually couldn't hold on. After half a cup of tea's time, the two demonic beasts' spiritual energy was almost exhausted. Wang Daoyuan flew to the two red suns and let out a tiger's roar. The two demonic beasts didn't have enough spiritual energy to protect themselves and fainted. He dispersed the two red suns and surrounded the surroundings with the sea of fire. He smiled at Zhou Wan. "Hall Master, I'll leave the rest to you." Zhou Wan flew into the sea of fire. Under Wang Daoyuan's guidance, she took out two divided souls and merged them into the souls of the two demonic beasts. Chapter 829. With the flame blocking, no one could see what was going on inside. After Zhou Wan's split soul merged, Wang Daoyuan took out two universe rings that could store demonic beasts and put them in. These two demonic beasts were no longer a problem. As long as she waited for 10 days to half a month, after the divided soul completely took control of the doppelganger, Zhou Wan would have two more fifth-order middle-grade fighters. With the two level 5 demonic beasts taken care of, the remaining level 4 demonic beasts and ferocious beasts did not dare to stay any longer. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan did not stay in Kongming Mountain for long and returned to the headquarters of Blood Shadow. There were Blood Shadow cultivators guarding Kongming Mountain. The news of them taking care of the level 5 demonic beasts should have been reported to the headquarters long ago. Sure enough, the flying boat landed in the valley where Blood Shadow's headquarters was located. Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu were already waiting there. "Welcome back, retired Emperor and Empress Dowager." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. Let's get down to business as soon as possible. We've already gathered all the elders and mid-level stewards. We're just waiting for retired Emperor and Empress Dowager to return. Then we'll start discussing the matter of Empress Dowager becoming the Shadow Master." The two elders led the way and soon arrived at the meeting hall of the headquarters. At this moment, there were 50 to 60 golden core cultivators sitting in the hall. Seeing the four of them walk in, all the cultivators stood up and said in unison, "Greetings, retired Emperor and Empress." "Greetings, First Elder and Second Elder." Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan walked to the main seats and sat down. The others did not feel anything wrong. Zhang Dingming said, "Now that a level 5 spirit vein is about to appear in Beiyuan Xiuxian, even the demon race that hibernated 10,000 years ago has come out to seize the opportunity. The four top forces, even the Zhou state and the Qin state, already had Yuaning cultivators. Together with the new top force Yen Kingdom, Blood Shadow can only be ranked 8th now. Now is a time of turmoil. If we don't seize the opportunity, it will be difficult for us to make a comeback in the future. Blood Shadow is different from the other forces. Their hands are stained with the blood of other forces. Once they decline, they might not even be able to protect the foundation left behind by their ancestors. However, we also have one last chance. Zhou Wan, the head of the Shanbei branch, was also the Empress Dowager of the Yan Kingdom. He was the only Yuanian cultivator among Blood Shadow's direct descendants. Previously, an elder had suggested for Hall leader Zhou to be the shadow leader. At that time, Hall leader Zhou had yet to make any contributions, so it was difficult for him to convince the masses. Today, the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger and the moon-howling wolf had led a large group of demonic beasts to besiege the Kongming mountain. Hall Master Zhou and the retired emperor joined hands to take down these two demonic beasts, and even killed dozens of fourth-rank demonic beasts to protect the Kongming mountain. With such a great contribution, he was qualified to become the Shadow Lord. I suggest that Hall Master Zhou be the Shadow Master. Elders, if you have any opinions, feel free to raise them. Before he finished speaking, a middle-aged man said, I agree that Hall Master Zhou should be the Shadow Lord. Now, there are 7 forces with Yuanian cultivators. Our Blood Shadow can't afford to delay any longer. If Hall Master Zhou becomes the Shadow Master, we'll have a Yuanian cultivator. With our resources, we can at least suppress the Zhou and Qin states. In the future, if we join forces with the Yan Kingdom, we won't be afraid of the other 4 top forces. An old Golden Core cultivator also said, Martial Nephew Zhang Yu's words are reasonable. So what if we're under the Yan Kingdom? It's much better than being surrounded by the other forces and losing our foundation and inheritance. Then, several more Golden Core cultivators came out to support him. Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu were a little surprised. These elders came from small families and climbed up from the middle class. The people of the Zhang and Su families hadn't said anything yet. In fact, these cultivators who climbed up from the middle class were more supportive of Zhou Wan. After all, Zhou Wan's background was similar to theirs. If they could promote Zhou Wan to the position of Shadow Master, they could also suppress the Zhang and Su families. In the future, their descendants could also get more resources and it would be easier for them to rise to the top. The elders of the Zhang and Su families also looked at each other. They had been told by their elders that they must agree with Zhou Wan to be the Shadow Master. Now that the elders of small families had expressed their opinions, they didn't dare to delay any longer. For a moment, all the Golden Core elders agreed. Zhang Dingming glanced at Su Boyu and cursed inwardly, this old fox, he most likely reached a tacit understanding with Wang Daoyuan in private. After all this fuss, only my Zhang family was kept in the dark. He originally thought that the Su family would desperately oppose and also rope in a few elders who were promoted from the middle class. The number of people who agreed with Zhou Wan to be the Shadow Master was less than 2/3. It would be fine if he fooled them. The Su family's betrayal was directly supported by everyone. But things had already come to this, and Wang Daoyuan had been staring at him. If he dared to make trouble at this time, he probably wouldn't even have the chance to speak before being killed. He had no choice but to announce, since all the elders have agreed, the stewards below don't need to express their opinions anymore. Blood Shadow has unanimously agreed that Hall Master Zhou will be the Shadow Master and lead the Blood Shadow cultivators. Hall Master Zhou, please consider the sincerity of the Blood Shadow cultivators and take on this heavy burden to revive the power of Blood Shadow. Zhou Wan stood up and said, since all the elders support me, I'll take on the burden of Blood Shadow. I don't dare to say that I'll shake Beiyuan like the ancestors of the past, but I'll do my best to protect Blood Shadow's position. Su Boyu hurriedly said, Shadow Master, please go to the Ancestral Master Hall to worship the ancestors. All the elders also shouted together, Shadow Master, please succeed. Zhou Wan didn't refuse. Since all the elders support me, I'll succeed the position of Shadow Master today. After saying that, she led the elders to the Ancestral Master Hall. It wasn't far, the Ancestral Master Hall was right next to the conference hall. A group of people escorted Zhou Wan into the Ancestral Master Hall. Together with Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu, they knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times in front of the memorial tablets of the past ancestors. They told the past ancestors that Blood Shadow had chosen another Shadow Master. Afterwards, Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu walked into the backyard of the Ancestral Master Hall. After a while, the two came out again. Zhang Dingming was holding a red robe in his hand, while Su Boyu was holding a wooden tray. On the tray, there was a blood jade seal, a few thick animal skins, and a few tokens. Zhang Dingming put the red robe on Zhou Wan. This is the Taoist robe worn by the first ancestor, Blood Robe Divinity, when he killed the Devil Clan. It's also the token of the past Shadow Masters. Su Boyu came forward, and Zhang Dingming handed the things in his hands to Zhou Wan one by one. This is the seal of the Shadow Master, the list of all the properties of Blood Shadow, and the tokens to access the secret treasure house and the core inheritance. Zhou Wan took these things one by one, and then raised the blood jade seal with one hand. All the elders, including Zhang Dingming and Su Boyu, knelt on one knee. Shadow Master. Zhou Wan had been in charge of Shanbei for more than 200 years, so she naturally had a good temperament. She waved her hand. Elders, please rise. In the future, all the affairs of Blood Shadow will depend on you. All the elders said in unison, we are willing to die for Blood Shadow. Then, Su Boyu cupped his hands and said, Shadow Master, I'm old and don't have many years left. I can no longer assist you. Please allow me to abdicate. Zhou Wan hurriedly persuaded, Second Elder has worked hard for Blood Shadow for hundreds of years. How can you just retire? Su Boyu pleaded again and again, and Zhou Wan reluctantly agreed. Zhou Wan asked, in your opinion, who should be the second elder? Su Boyu cupped his hands and said, I think Elder Zhang Yu can take on this responsibility. Elder Zhang Yu reached the peak of Gold Core when he was more than 500 years old, and now he's only 600 or 700 years old. In the future, if he has a level 5 spiritual vein, he will definitely be able to break through Yuanying. He's the most suitable person to be the second elder. This guy really knew how to behave. The decline of the Su family was inevitable, and the position of the second elder could not be kept. He might as well do a favor and bring Zhang Yu up. Zhang Yu was a close friend of Zhou Wan's father. If Zhou Wan wanted to cultivate power, she must promote Zhang Yu. Now that he took the initiative to recommend him, Zhang Yu could also take care of the Su family in the future. Zhou Wan nodded. Since that's the case, then we'll do as Elder Su says. Zhang Yu will be the second elder. What do you think, first elder? Zhang Dingming knew that he had been tricked, so he did not dare to act rashly. Zhang Yu is indeed a talent. He's the most suitable person to be the second elder. Chapter 830. With the second elder's recommendation and the Shadow Master and Grand Elder's agreement, the matter was settled. Since Grand Elder has no objections, it's decided. Zhang Yu will be the second elder. Elders, please go about your own business. The rank 5 demonic beast has been subdued, and many businesses have suffered heavy losses. We need to recover as soon as possible. The elders took their leave, leaving only the Grand Elder and Su Boyu. Su Boyu cupped his hands toward Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan. Shadow Master and retired Emperor, please come to the Su family for a chat. It's time for me to give you an explanation for what happened back then. Zhang Dingming finally understood. The Su family had supported Zhou Wan to become the Shadow Master in exchange for Zhou Wan's mercy. If not for this, with Wang Daoyuan's temper, he would have wiped out the Su family. The three of them left the ancestral hall and headed toward the Su family's spirit mountain. The spirit mountains of these families were all outside of Blood Shadow City. There were only a few large courtyards in the city, so it was convenient for the clansmen to work. As one of the two great clans of Blood Shadow City, the Su family had lived for tens of thousands of years. The dozen or so mountains north of Blood Shadow City were all the Su family's territory. When the three of them arrived at the Su family's main spirit mountain, all the golden core cultivators of the Su family were already there. When they saw Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Wan, they bowed. "Greetings, Shadow Master and retired Emperor." Zhou Wan waved her hand. "At ease." Everyone stood up. Su Boyu said, "About 400 years ago, Su Yizong of the Su family lost to the Shadow Master when he was fighting for the right to open his Violet Palace. I felt ashamed, so I suppressed the Shadow Master. Su Yizong wanted to marry the Shadow Master, but after he was rejected, I felt ashamed. Under this brat's urging, the Shadow Master was sent to the barren lands north of Mount Huiyan. He even used his connections to kill the Shadow Master's father. A life for a life. It's time for the Su family to pay the price." He pointed out Su Yizong and the other two golden core cultivators. "There were many people who participated in this, but only the four of us are still alive. It's up to the Shadow Master to decide what to do with us. All members of the Su family, listen up. The four of us are going to die today because our Su family owes the Shadow Master. In the future, the descendants of the Su family will listen to the Shadow Master's orders and cannot disobey him. Qinghe, in the future, you will be in charge of all matters of the Su family. You must restrain your descendants and not go against the Shadow Lord and the Yen Kingdom." Su Qinghe cupped his hands and said, "Yes, Father." Zhou Wan glanced at them. "I won't deal with the Su family in the future, lest someone from the Su family acts recklessly and wants to avenge you. I won't do it myself. Kill yourselves." Su Boyu cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your magnanimity, Shadow Master." After he finished speaking, he looked at Su Yizong and the others. "Otherwise, you three won't be willing to die after this old man dies and anger the Shadow Master again. The three of you should commit suicide first. If you don't dare, this old man will do it myself." This Su Yizong was less than 500 years old, and his cultivation was at the middle gold core stage. He looked like a young man, and his appearance was not bad. But now, he was scared out of his wits. His face was deathly pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. When he heard that Su Boyu wanted him to commit suicide, he was so scared that he quickly knelt down. "Grandpa, save me. I don't want to die." Su Boyu sighed. "It's all my fault. I spoiled you too much. Otherwise, you wouldn't have caused such a big trouble. Since it's my fault, I'll take care of it." Before he finished speaking, he hit Su Yizong's head with his palm. Su Yizong's eyes widened, and his face was filled with disbelief. He fell to the ground and died. The other two didn't need Su Boyu to do anything and killed themselves. Su Boyu looked at the Su family members, then raised his hand and hit his own head. The Su family members had tears in their eyes, but they didn't dare to cry out loud. Zhou Wan said, "My grudge with the Su family has been settled. As long as the Su family doesn't betray me, I won't suppress them." Then, she left the Su family's spirit mountain with Wang Daoyuan and returned to the Blood Shadow City. When they arrived at the Blood Shadow City, the two of them went to the Zhou mansion. Zhou Wan opened the door to the main room in the courtyard. There was only a sacrificial table, a few chairs, and a bed inside. There were 2 memorial tablets on the table. They belonged to Zhou Wan's parents. Zhou Wan burned 3 incense sticks for the 2 memorial tablets and kowtowed 3 times. "Father, I've avenged you. I've also become the Shadow Master of the Blood Shadow City. I've also found you a good son-in-law and gave birth to a grandson. He's the Emperor of the Yen Kingdom. When you were alive, you always wanted to acknowledge your ancestors and return to your family. I've fulfilled your wish. Now, I'm Princess Qingyang of the Zhou Kingdom. I'm the leader of ancestor Qiuwan's branch. Wang Daoyuan also burned 3 incense sticks. Father-in-law and mother-in-law, don't worry. I'll take care of Zhou Wan. Nothing will happen to her. After paying their respects, Wang Daoyuan stayed with Zhou Wan for more than a month. Zhou Wan was already able to completely control the 2 doppelgangers. With the protection of these 2 doppelgangers, which were comparable to a late-stage Yuanying cultivator, there wouldn't be any problems. Wang Daoyuan left all the nascent cultivating pills for her. He left the Blood Shadow headquarters and returned to the Jade Spring Peak. The family was facing the Sky Beheading Mountain Range, the Eastern Sea, and the Arctic Ice Plains. It was even more dangerous than the Blood Shadow headquarters. If he wasn't there for a long time, the demonic beasts would definitely cause trouble. Zhou Wan naturally stayed at the headquarters. After all, she had just become the Shadow Master. She didn't have a reliable force under her, so she couldn't leave easily. She had already appointed Wang Daojian as the Shanbei branch's hall master. His authority was the same as before. He could appoint the hall master of a second-grade branch. The entire Blood Shadow organization in the Yan Kingdom was managed by Wang Daojian. In the future, the Wang family's descendants would enter the headquarters through the Shanbei branch. With the Shadow Master's protection, the Wang family's descendants who entered the Blood Shadow headquarters would naturally be put in an important position. On the way back to the Jade Spring Peak, Wang Daoyuan strolled around several places where 5th-grade demonic beasts roamed. These demonic beasts were quite obedient. Ever since he intimidated them last time, they didn't show up again. He returned to the Jade Spring Peak unimpeded. There were no problems at the family's side. After the demonic beasts were wiped out twice, they didn't dare to show up again. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, there was a happy occasion. The Jade Spring Peak spirit vein had been upgraded to 4th-grade high grade. Moreover, the density of the spirit energy was clearly increasing. The piece of Gui water essence that had been fused into the spirit vein wasn't wasted. In addition, the Sky Beheading Mountain Range was relatively close. When the Sky Beheading Mountain Range became a 5th-grade spirit vein, the Jade Spring Peak would also gain some benefits. There was still a high chance that the spirit vein would be upgraded to 5th grade. On the Jade Spring Peak, he also met a person he hadn't seen for many years. It was Wang Dezhao. After Wang Daochang left the position of clan leader, Wang Mingshan took over as clan leader, and he took over as Grand Elder. However, he resigned after a few years and stayed in the Green Willow secret territory to cultivate. After returning for a few years, he didn't show up. When he saw Wang Daoyuan, he hurriedly bowed and said, "Grandson greets 7th great uncle. Congratulations on breaking through to the Yuanying stage." Wang Daoyuan carefully sized him up. "Not bad, peak stage Zifu realm cultivation. It's not easy to cultivate to such a level after establishing the Zifu realm for only 100 years. How's your progress in the 100 arts of cultivation?" Wang Dezhao smiled awkwardly. "I've spent all my energy on cultivation these past few years. My alchemy and equipment forging are only 3rd grade low grade." His talent wasn't bad, but it couldn't be considered top-notch. To be able to reach the peak stage of the Zifu realm in 100 years was already very good. As for alchemy and equipment forging, it wasn't a big deal to delay them for a while. What the family lacked was a pillar of support, not an alchemist or equipment forging master. It's already very rare to have such achievements in 100 years. You came this time to ask about the fire attribute laws, right? After saying that, he took out the meteoric flame controlling gourd and placed a wisp of scarlet yang true fire inside. You can use this spirit fire to comprehend the laws. If there's anything you don't understand, go ask your 3rd great uncle. I still have to improve my alchemy skills, so I don't have time to guide you. Wang Dezhao took the gourd and thanked him repeatedly. There was a world of difference between a 5th-grade spirit fire and a 4th-grade spirit fire. The laws of a 4th-grade spirit fire were extremely rare, and they were all hidden. It wasn't easy to comprehend the laws. And the laws of a 5th-grade spirit fire were extremely obvious. It was basically putting the laws in front of you. Comprehending the laws of a 5th-grade spirit fire was much easier. Chapter 831. After sending Wang Dezhao away, Wang Daoyuan returned to the underground cave and began to refine pills. In the Heaven's Secret Tower, he learned alchemy from the Thousand Hands Divine Sovereign. There was no need to nurture pills in the illusion realm. It only took an hour to refine a cauldron of pills. Although he didn't stay in the illusion realm for long, he still gained a lot. Now, he could refine 2 cauldrons of 9 Death's Soul Return pills at the same time, and his success rate had reached 40%. After refining the pills, he could put the pills and cauldron into the space of the Spirit Pearl. Yuanying also entered the space of the Spirit Pearl and slowly nurtured the pills. In this way, he would be able to rapidly refine large amounts of medicinal pills in less than a few days for the most time-consuming pill nurturing. 2 years later, his success rate of refining 9 Death's Soul Return pills had reached 60%. With this success rate, he could start refining the mid-grade level 5 nascent cultivating pill. Although the value of this nascent cultivating pill was much higher than the 9 Death's Soul Return pill, it wasn't too outrageous. In the 7 Stars Heavenly Palace, he obtained all the seedlings of the spiritual herbs needed for the nascent cultivating pill. These spiritual herbs would bloom and bear seeds if they weren't old enough. His clone plucked these seeds and began to expand. Previously, in the Qixing Si Xiuxian community, it was difficult to find spiritual herbs for refining pills. The spiritual fields expanded from the space of the Spirit Pearl didn't have any other spiritual herbs. With these nascent cultivating pill seeds, he began to expand. Now, there were more than 30 acres. Previously, he had already harvested more than 10 acres. Refining a few hundred nascent cultivating pills wasn't a big problem. The other 20 acres would also grow in the next few years. Previously, when Zhou Wan was forming her nascent soul, the core of the nascent replenishing fruit was planted in the space of the Spirit Pearl by Wang Daoyuan. Now, it had grown to a height of more than a foot. However, it would take at least a few decades for the saplings to bear fruit. Taking out a set of ingredients for the nascent cultivating pill, he used the flame of life to extract the essence of the spiritual herbs and began to refine the nascent cultivating pill. For the first time, he didn't dare to refine 2 cauldrons of pills at the same time. The first cauldron of pills wasn't bad. 2 pills were formed. Next, it would take half a year to nurture them. After putting the cauldron into the space of the Spirit Pearl, Yuanying also entered. With time accelerated by more than 70 times, less than 3 days had passed in the outside world, and the medicinal pill had been successfully nurtured. Yuanying came out of the Spirit Pearl space and swallowed a newly refined nascent cultivating pill. She circulated her cultivation method to refine it. Using the Thousand Arms Supreme Divinity's alchemy technique and the flame of life to extract the essence of the herbs, the pill toxins in the pills were indeed much less. Of course, to Wang Daoyuan, the presence of pill toxins was no big deal. Even if there were remnants of pill toxins in his body, he could use the spiritual fire to burn his entire body to remove the pill toxins. After confirming the success of the pill refining, he still wanted to continue his efforts and refine more nascent cultivating pills. However, Huipeng, who was patrolling the heavenly/mountain range, discovered something unusual. His panoramic perception clone, the Grey Rock, felt that there was an unusual power in the heaven/mountain range. Furthermore, as time passed, the fluctuations became stronger and stronger. This kind of fluctuation was not unfamiliar to him. It was the fluctuation of the power of law that only a rank 5 spirit vein could have. Wang Daoyuan left the underground cave and flew east to the vicinity of the heaven/mountain range's main vein. The spirit energy produced here was indeed a small portion of rank 5 spirit energy. He stopped here for a moment, and the rank 5 spirit energy increased. However, the change was very weak, and cultivators below the Yuanying realm and demons below rank 5 would not be able to notice it. The rank 5 spirit energy produced now was not enough. Relying on this little bit of spirit energy was not enough to break through to the Yuanying realm. However, according to this growth rate, it would slowly grow. In 2 to 3 years at most, the heaven/mountain range's main spirit vein would truly become a low-grade rank 5 spirit vein, and it would not be a problem for cultivators to break through to the Yuanying realm. The heaven/mountain range stretched from the heaven/abyss to the depths of the extreme frost ice plains for more than 1,000,000 miles. Even the Sea of 7 Stars did not have such a huge spirit vein. Once it became a rank 5 spirit vein, it would produce a huge amount of rank 5 spirit energy. Under this influence, the concentration of spirit energy in the entire Beiyuan would rapidly increase. At that time, the battle between the demons and humans would become even more intense. After all, once the spirit energy recovered, the advantage of the human race's fast cultivation speed would be displayed. The longer the battle dragged on, the greater the advantage of the human race would be. Although the demons were reckless, they were not brainless. They would not watch the humans gain the absolute advantage. More than 10,000 years ago, the demons had to sneak around to break through to the next realm. This situation was not what the demons wanted to see. The demons that were hiding in various places would definitely think of ways to gather under the immense pressure of the humans and deal with the humans together. Wang Daoyuan immediately sent a message to Zhou Wan, his master, and the many cultivators of the archaic mysteries sect, asking them to make preparations as soon as possible. If the rank 5 demons did not show themselves, he would not be able to find them even if he wanted to attack them one by one. There was not much he could do. He could only return to the Jade Spring Peak and prepare more resources to prepare for the battle with the demons. At the same time, he had the Grey Rock clone monitor the movements of the demons. If there were any problems, he would be able to find out in time. The red-feathered crow in the Spirit Pearl space had been stuck at the peak of rank 4 for a long time. With the density of the Golden Crow's bloodline in its body and the ample spiritual energy in the Spirit Pearl space, it should not be stuck at the bottleneck of rank 4. This fella usually took a nap on the blood-fire hibiscus tree in the Spirit Pearl space. It was not a good idea to let it continue like this. Wang Daoyuan let it out to follow the Grey Rock to investigate the movements of the demons. The Golden Crow was also a divine bird known for its speed. With the Grey Rock's protection, encountering a rank 5 demon beast was not a problem. If it encountered a rank 4 demon beast, it could be used as a practice partner. It might even have the opportunity to break through to rank 5. However, after this fella came out of the Spirit Pearl space, it was not willing to search for demon beasts. It only flew to the Iron Screen Mountain at the western border of Qingli County and stayed on the mountain top to bask in the sun. Although the Iron Screen Mountain was high, it only had a rank 3 low-grade spiritual vein. There were no demon beasts that could threaten it. Thus, he did not bother about it. If it liked to bask in the sun, he would let it bask in the sun slowly. 2 years passed quickly. After Wang Daoyuan refined a few hundred nascent cultivating pills, he started to refine rank 5 magic tools. Of course, these magic tools were also mainly rank 5 low-grade shields. The war with the demons was coming soon. With more rank 5 magic tools, they could also increase their combat strength. In the future, if his clansmen broke through to rank 5, they could also use these shields to transcend the tribulation. In these 2 years, the heaven/mountain range produced more and more rank 5 spiritual energy. It was just that there was still a gap to break through with this spiritual energy. No human or demon beast would take the risk at this time. On the other hand, the scarlet-feathered crow did not bask in the sun for nothing these 2 years. Its small divine ability was getting stronger and stronger. It was already very close to a true divine ability. It seemed that it had stayed in the spirit pearl space for a few years and there were no signs of a breakthrough. It should be that it could not see the sun. Legend had it that the sun was formed by the ancestor of the Golden Crow lineage. It contained the divine ability of the Golden Crow clan. Wang Daoyuan could not feel anything special about the sun and thought that it was just a legend. The scarlet-feathered crow could strengthen its small divine ability just by basking in the sun. It seemed that this legend was not groundless. Wang Daoyuan's Yuanying was in the spirit pearl space. She was nurturing a silver rank 5 low-grade shield. Soon, the shield emitted strong spiritual energy fluctuations and the power of laws unique to rank 5 magic tools. Yuanying waved her small hand and took the shield out of the weapon refining cauldron. Yuanying left the spirit pearl space and returned to her physical body. At this time, the scarlet-feathered crow came to his side. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Why didn't you continue to bask in the sun on Iron Screen Mountain?" The scarlet-feathered crow said with divine sense, "Father, I can break through to rank 5 now." Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed. After the scarlet-feathered crow broke through, its strength should not be inferior to an ordinary rank 5 mid-grade demon beast. He took out a few 9 death resurrection pills. "Is this pill useful to you? This is a spiritual item that the human race needs. The yin qi in it will only deplete my pure yang qi. It also has side effects. I don't need to be afraid of getting injured during the tribulation. As long as it's daytime, I can continuously absorb energy from the sun to replenish my spiritual energy and heal my injuries." You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.